All right, let's go.
Okay, that's you.
Oh, you don't have to cue me no more?
Huh? No, I don't cue you anymore. You can go whenever you want.
All right. Okay, cue me off. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Between Nerds Podcast. My name is Drew Philip Elias, and I am here with my other co-host, Mr. Aldo Mendez. What's up, buddy?
What's up, brother? How you doing today? Very nerdy, I see.
Very nerdy. I'm feeling extra nerdy today. It is a Sunday afternoon in sunny side El Paso. We are here to discuss Horimiya, the 2021 smash romance hit, won
Anime award winner.
Anime of the year. What's the award called? At the 2021 Anime Awards, which were 2 weeks ago, it won Best Romance Anime of 2021. And before we get into all that, I do want to go over our housekeeping notes at the beginning of this episode. Hopefully, we have some video recording of this episode for once.
Yes, we are trying video, as you guys can see.
Hopefully.
In the next day or so. The audio will be ready by tomorrow morning, but the video might take me a little bit, but
that's fine. So be patient with us. If you have any constructive comments, I know that a bunch of nerds don't know what constructive comments are, but if you have any constructive comments on how we can improve our setup or up our video quality, our audio quality, whatever, what have you, please hit us up on all of our social media handles, which are Between Nerds. I made a Twitch today, which we're not going to use today, but we're going to try to figure out how to incorporate that into our video recording. Also Between Nerds. Email us at betweennerdspodcast@gmail.com. And please, for the month of February, use hashtag Nerds for Black Leadership in original tweet, Instagram post, or YouTube comment so that we can donate to El Paso Young Black Leaders. And for every time you use Nerds for Black Leadership, we will be entering you into our February giveaway, and we'll get you some cool tailor-made. Well, not tailor-made. We'll get you some nerd shit that is that fits your nerd interests. So you like Dragon Ball, we'll get you something Dragon Ball. You like JoJo's, we'll get you something JoJo's. So please, just use hashtag Nerds for Black Leadership.
And since we are working on the video, make sure you like us, subscribe, and hit notifications on YouTube. Speaking of YouTube comments, shout out to Osmosis Jones for giving us some, well-articulated comments. On
an old episode, too. Like, it's the first Yu Yu Hakusho episode, which is fine. That's
episode
dope.
62. Yeah, I don't care.
That means this guy really cares about Yu Yu, bro. He really just YouTubed Yu Yu Hakusho and was just, like, digging through the trenches trying to find some Yu Yu content.
Some nerds talking about Yu Yu.
Yeah, and that's perfectly fine. Like, something hard about trying to record... not live, but just like for extended periods of time, is we get the details mixed up a lot, like a lot, which I think it's hilarious that for a given episode we might get like, depending on the episode, like we'll get like 100 downloads in a day sometimes. You know what I mean? Sometimes like just a hyper cluster of French people find an episode, and we'll just get like jump up on like
Dominican
downloads for
Republic people.
Yeah, for like a certain day, we'll just jump up on like a lot of downloads on a given episode, but we still don't get a lot of feedback. Which, like, I know me and you aren't fact checking each other enough, probably. So I think it's funny that we're not getting more feedback.
Yeah, and
because I know nerds like to shit on other people,
Exactly.
Oh, actually, he walked in the door on the left. Han shot first. Blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, well, the sun in Krypton makes Superman not powerful. Blah, blah, blah.
Right.
Yeah.
I know nerds love to be right, especially on the internet. I don't know how we're not getting more shit for always being wrong.
Exactly, dude. I was thinking that the other day. I'm like, wow, from all the communities that we, luckily have is the nerddom in the internet.
Yeah.
Of anime nerds.
Yeah.
And they want to be pretentious sometimes. They also are so, they like this anime so much that they want to, they want to be like, yo, bro, not really. It's like, this is exactly what it is.
I have mixed feelings on, like, the current state of, like, Dave Chappelle's career, right? But something he said like recently was just like in the last one, the one with like
does my pride cup make you uncomfortable?
No. But like in the last episode where he was acting super transphobic, earlier in that skit, he said something that I actually thought was right. Was like, Twitter isn't real world, right? Because when I was growing up, the hyper nerds, the socially awkward nerds would never speak up and like defend what they do. But like the internet gives you like this blank slate, this like clean opportunity where you don't have to show face and you can still defend what you want, which is why I think nerds are so vocal on the internet, right? Mm-hmm. And because of that, you're starting to get like these mini cultures of like hate within the anime community. Like I'm seeing it a lot with
gatekeepers and
well, not just gatekeeping, but like Demon Slayer is probably the best animated anime ever. That's not like a feature length film, right? Like ever. Mm-hmm. Especially with the most recent season. You'll still have nerds being like making memes about how bad the animation is in Demon Slayer. I'm just like, you literally like do not care about the substance of what you're saying. Like you think it's cool to have an unpopular opinion, which like,
but can he beat Goku?
Oh, I hate that.
Yeah, takes like that are wild, and that's why I'm surprised that we're not getting any more feedback. But if you do want to say anything about any comments, concerns,
send us an email.
Or if you just want to hate on us, just send us an email.
I think the only email we've gotten that wasn't VNA was a hate email.
Yeah, and they were like, stop spamming on Twitter. I'm like, well, bro, we're trying to do something over here. And it's not like it's selfish stuff. It's use the hashtag, nerds. You guys haven't used a hashtag.
I know, and these nerds don't like black leadership. I don't know what the fuck these kids' problem is.
I don't know, man. I would hate to be a piece of shit nerd.
I know. Anyways, enough with the emotion of hate. We're talking about the emotion of love because it's February. It is our third week of our romance anime watchathon.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So Drew.
Yes.
What to you? What is Horimiya for you?
What is Horimiya? Horimiya, I like Horimiya a lot, right? Mm-hmm. So Horimiya came out winter 2021. So like literally this time last year. We're just like 365 days removed from like Horimiya ending, right? And I was watching it week to week, and I remember telling you about it in Nerd Downs, but you were doing that Aldo Mendes thing where you weren't listening to the details, right? So you've heard me speak about like half this anime already, right? And I love Horimiya, especially like the first maybe like 8 episodes or so, because it really feels like what falling in love in high school actually felt like. Because spoilers, no spoilers, Toradora is what we're watching next week. It won the poll that I put up on Twitter like 2 days ago. And
it did? Cool.
And Toradora is probably the most popular romance anime ever. Like it's number 12 popularity on
my anime list?
On my anime list, but it's like 400th in terms of ranking. Mm-hmm. So there's like a really big discrepancy between how many people have seen it and how many people are giving it like a 5, right? Uh-huh. So it's not at the time it was kind of groundbreaking, but Toradora fits in like that post melancholy phase where like everything was just trying to emulate like the 2000s anime features, like people spoken like expletives and super like corny 2000s anime speak like they don't really do in anime anymore.
It's like a melting pot of tropey shit.
Right. And everything after the Melancholy of Haruhi Suzumiya kind of like the Melancholy of Haruhi was so good, it ruined the anime industry for like 4 years, right? Because everyone was just trying to do this 2 and 11 of anime tropes, right? Horimiya, finally, like it's literally about 17-year-olds just falling in love, which is like the corniest, like no nonsense bullshit. Like
it's like those. I mean, I don't know if you're familiar, but like not only with like Mexican novelas and soap operas, like there was also like some novelas targeted to younger kids.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so instead like of a boy band, you would have like almost like a boy band novella, not boy band novella in itself, but so it's, people in high school and just being all.
So it's like Degrassi kind of.
Yeah.
Like okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I haven't seen it, but I know what you're talking about. Euphoria almost.
No. I think you have a misunderstanding of what Euphoria is.
Well, maybe.
We'll talk. I wanted to bring that up in the Nerd Down actually.
Okay.
But Horimiya like feels more grounded than even something that's real world like American television like that, right? Mm-hmm. Because Degrassi was like super dramatic and nobody really spoke like that. Like the joke is, why are they never in class? That's even the joke with Euphoria, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Or with Toradora, it's so juvenile and like corny, but Horimiya is really like, it feels like adults trying to recollect on like what it was like being 17 and in love, right? It's like me with my adult sensibilities. If I'm almost 30 and I'm air quotes mature and I'm trying to think,
I was young.
and yeah, but I'm not trying to make like a corny emo song about it.
Yeah.
It's not romanticized like it is, but it isn't. It wants to be grounded. It wants to feel real.
I completely get you, dude. Because even, I mean, what we see in Horimiya, the very touchy-feely or the very like emotional scenes, those are your fighting scenes in any other like shonen and stuff like that. So it comes into like not just dialogue, but like the moment how it presents itself, it's kind of fun to watch, and it doesn't seem like kiddie or anything like
No,
that.
it doesn't. And that's my favorite part of Horimiya. Because when you're a kid, like kid's a mean word. When you're a teenager, when you're a young adult, your hormones are kicking, your brain's still developing, and everything feels so much more like permanent. You know what I mean? Because we're following maybe 6 months in their senior year, right? But the way they act, they start talking about their friends and the relationship. It's about a girl named Hori and a guy named Miyamuri-kun, which is why it's like Horimiya. It's their relationship name.
mash.
Yeah, it's their couple name.
Yeah, it's like Bradgelina.
Yes, exactly. So it's their couple name, right? But the way they speak about each other, they're already like talking about committing their lives to each other and like their families love each other.
Not initially.
Not initially, but by the end, it's like you knew her for 6 months, bro. Like,
Yeah.
and the way they treat like fights or like periods in the relationship, they're talking about weeks or days.
And I feel like that's a mistranslation of as an American audience that we see. You're like, dude, it's like that's a girl in high school. But then again, like in the Japanese kind of culture, like things are not so personal.
In my well, I don't know anything about anything, and like my only exposure to the Japanese culture is through anime, which is probably already a misrepresentation, right? But I get the sense that like we know that Japan has a declining population. We know that less people are getting into relationships or having kids. Okay, so when they do get into a relationship, they treat it like a lot more permanent, right? So Karen's watching this popular show on Netflix called Love is Blind, right? It's literally just one of those like super tacky reality TV shows where like they get a bunch of single people in a room
And they
be like,
fuck.
no, and they're like,
And they get
figure out
STDs.
who your fiance is. You're gonna know them for 3 days, and then that's who you're gonna get married to, and the rest of the show is just them introducing themselves to their families and all that stuff, right?
Like, remember Jersey Shore, bro?
Well, Jersey Shore was cool because it was bad on purpose. Like
yeah,
they were
but it
just
was off the shits. Like, if you were to like recap that, like they were doing shit off the shits.
You couldn't. You literally
Yeah.
couldn't make Jersey Shore anyway.
Yeah.
But my point relating Love is Blind
This is
to
not Jersey.
Horimiya is like the minute you're in a relationship, you need to treat that as like that's going to be your first and your last relationship because like in Japan you might never get in a real relationship like that again. Which is also the writing dynamic in Rent a Girlfriend.
Yes, correct.
Right, because the loser in Rent a Girlfriend, he gets one girlfriend, she breaks up with him, he's just like, oh my god, I'm never gonna get in a relationship again, this is the worst thing ever. My parents are gonna be so disappointed that the bloodline's gonna end with me. Which sounds like a real kind of thing, like in a declining population.
I'm never gonna recover for this.
Yeah, I'm never gonna get a girlfriend again, because in Horimiya, it has this, almost, it almost feels like it steals from like American like teenage romance writing, because in all of those it's always like the popular, smart, talkative, outgoing girl falls in love with the brooding emo dude, right? Which is also something that we've seen, like we call it like the narrative write-in for nerds, right? Because it's like, if I'm an emo loser nerd that hates all my classmates and doesn't want to talk to anybody, then maybe the popular girl will fall in love with me. So it's one of those like writing in your audience to your own story kind of things.
Yes, absolutely. And I feel like anime in some way is to blame for nerds getting too attached too quickly to people.
I think nerds' families not bullying them enough is because like to
Like
me,
verbal bullying, it's cool, bro. Like
it depends.
You
Like
don't
I feel
get physical with it. We're
feel-
not trying to endorse bullying.
I feel like emotional bullying is only cool with people that you're close to. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So if I have a friend that, and I have this other really good friend, and they're both mutuals to me, and maybe the podcast, and there may be associates facilitated through me and maybe you and the podcast, right? They don't know each other personally outside of that. If one wants to be a fucking creep and do something like send a dick pic or something to the other friend, like, I can't even, like, both sides of the story of the thing. Like, one person clearly fucked up, and I have to be mad at you right now, and I'm upset with you that I even have to be in this situation. Absolutely. And I'm upset that you exposed my friend who's only exposed to you through me. Now I'm the intermediate here. I'm the asshole for even being your friend.
Well, we're all friends. And, like, when that happened... and I got the news, I was like, God damn it.
Why?
Like, why? The only reason you should be sending a dick pic is because the previous conversation was like, send me a dick pic.
Yeah. For real.
Yeah.
Like, I've never been like, oh, we just went from talking about the weather. I bet she wants to see a picture of my fucking dick. Like, what do you... Yeah. Oh,
anyways, there's no dick pic sending in this anime.
There's no what?
But they are nerds.
How was I relating this?
They are nerds that fall in love too quickly.
Oh no, I was talking about bullying.
Yes, bullying.
So I was relating to bullying. So now I have to bully the friend that sent the dick pic, right?
Yeah.
But if it also reminds me of like the Kanye West situation, where it's like if somebody I knew was acting like Kanye and acting like balls to the wall crazy and like harassing his ex, I would bully my friend. You know what I mean? I will bully my friends out of the bad things they were doing. I will neg the shit out of my friends.
Kanye doesn't have any friends, bro.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. And that's how like a lot of these nerds feel. You don't have real friends, bro, or your family doesn't give enough shits about you, that they're just letting you be a fucking pleb and like not a
pleb. Nice word.
I know. You like that?
Are you
one?
Practicing that one?
No, I didn't. Cool. I don't know where that came from. Right.
Pinche pleb.
But that's kind of how like nerds shit on things, right? And that's at first how it seems like our character Miyamura is going to be in Horimiya, because so if Hori's the pretty popular smart girl that's hardworking and family oriented, then her male counterpart is this emo guy with really long hair, wears glasses, but he doesn't cut his hair, and he's wearing the glasses to cover up a bunch of piercings. He can't get dressed for PE class because he's got a bunch of tattoos, which like...
And honestly, right now that I think about it, I mean, my hair is getting pretty long, and like, fuck, I would hate to be like a long hair fucking dude.
Well, like...
Unless I was really into rock.
And they never even... The music taste he has is more like popular music too. He's not even like into like bands and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's not like a Gretzico where he's got like a secret double life.
Like, just to let your hair grow, to me, nah, it's not a go.
I think the thing that made me laugh the most in episode 1 of Horimiya is the story is just about this popular girl is rushing home every day to take care of her brother and pick him up from elementary school and cook for him at the end of the day, right? After when she got out of school. So she can't attend any club activities. She's not in any sports because she has to take care of her little brother because the mom's always working overtime and the father's absent, basically, right? So one day, the little brother, while playing outside, kind of like falls or hurts himself, and then a stranger like walks him into the house and takes care of him. And right away, Hori is like shocked. She's like, oh my god, who's this tall black-haired guy with long hair and like long eyelashes, tattoos, and piercings? Which like, that's what made me want to laugh at it when I first originally watched it. I was like, oh, color me shocked that girls like tattoos and piercings and guys with long hair.
Yeah, and it's like, it's super corny, but that's what we're here for.
Yeah.
And as a first-time watcher, when you watch those kind of quirky things in the first episode, you're like, ooh, where is this gonna end up being?
This is gonna be tacky.
But you start watching it, and it's not even like that. No, it just starts going very smoothly into like how they meet, and oh, you're that guy? It's like,
yeah, because like
that guy that I'd never seen before at school.
Because he starts addressing her by her name. He's calling her Hori, and she's like, "Wait, how do you know my name?" And he's like, I literally sit next to you in class. I'm that nerd with the long hair and the glasses." And she's like, "Oh my god, like this hot guy's been sitting next to me this whole time. What the fuck?" And it's basically just about them falling in love from there. That's the whole story of Horimiya. Is just Hori-san and Miyamura just falling in love and learning more about each other. Which, like, it's not... So, if I'm comparing it to, like, my watch-through of Toradora last night, Like, I watched like half of it this weekend. Toradora still has this like juvenile writing that's just like, oh, but I love her so much, my heart hurts. I need to confess to him immediately. Oh, like this is so that's not how the real world is, though. You know what I mean? You can't be acting like that. You're gonna be like turning people off or scaring people, or like even that obsessive, like take on liking one isn't even. You can't act like that anymore. It's not healthy.
Yeah, no, it's absolutely not natural. And I mean, this is just for the sake of the romantic story. And I mean, now that I'm thinking about it, I mean, it's weird because now that I'm remembering all these like Mexican like films, which is just like teenage love, and they are quirky like that, but at the same time they're not. And it you have to know what a romance is to be able to almost enjoy this.
Right.
Because if you're thinking of watching, if you think you're gonna be watching like Full Metal Alchemist or fucking, you know, Demon Slayer,
I doubt anyone would think that going into this.
Exactly. So and that's what I was going like with the nerds. There's nerds that really love something and they want to talk about it, and there's people that really hate it and they want to talk about it.
Yeah. And
it's funny.
people like to whitewash things that they don't actually understand, which is like why I was trying to make fun of your Euphoria take, because like that is so not what Euphoria is, and I think it's funny that you think that's what Euphoria is, because that feels like what I see like in Twitter discourse where they're just like shitting on it because it's like the popular thing girls like and they think it's a certain thing, because you like if you're a fan of dramatic filmmaking and just dramatic acting in general, I don't know how you can not like Euphoria.
And when I was comparing Euphoria to Degrassi or whatever, or that topic, I didn't mean it in a bad way. Me and V were gonna give it a chance, but we saw the thumbnail for like when we actually clicked on the icon, you know, it gives you like a banner kind of thing, and we looked at it and we're like, oh, it's like this looks pretty corny.
It's not corny.
And she was like, oh, yeah, it does. And then
I think the biggest gripe against actually...
It almost reminded me of Riverdale.
No. Yeah.
See,
again, like you're wrong. And I've seen...
And I'm not saying
I
it's
watched
bad.
all of season 1 of Riverdale. Don't get me wrong. I'm not opposed to the garbage. I will point it out if it's trash right away. And Riverdale is so, but Riverdale... When I watched all of season 1, it was interesting because Riverdale has a murder mystery aspect to it, which is like supposed to be the interesting part about Riverdale. But at a certain point... CW, it just devolves into the relationships and them just fucking each other and just seeing like naked teenagers on screen, right?
CW is terrible.
Right, but that's not what Euphoria is. Euphoria...
HBO.
Yeah, exactly. Like, number one, it's HBO, and you're just like, oh, okay, so it's automatically 10 times better.
Have you ever seen HBO?
No, number two, it really feels like just letting good actors just act.
Do their thing?
Just act. And just putting them in really fucked up situations. So, one of the dramatic parts about, like, early seasons of Degrassi and stuff, it was about like people getting drunk and being hospitalized at prom or stuff like that. The main actual issue I'll probably agree with Euphoria is that it's a narrative about teenagers that's too adult, which is why like a lot of like Christian parents and like conservatives hate it. Which that argument I get. I don't think it's a correct argument, but I understand why it would be made, right? Because if it's just about trying to be a relatable 16, 17-year-old, 18-year-old, and it's literally just about doing drugs, ODing, raping, porn,
showing people your dick,
sex bullying on the internet, like people in the 80s growing up as homophobes because they were secretly gay in wrestling, and like just it's too adult for what it tells you its audience is. Which I think is the opposite gripe of like Riverdale or something like that. Because Riverdale, being on a public network, has to be like sort of kid friendly. Yeah, it has to be sort of PC, which is the opposite problem that Euphoria has.
Okay. Yeah, it makes sense because it's HBO. And you know what? I will give it a try. Because I hear nothing but good things about it. I hear nothing about like really good cinematography, especially
that's
like...
what I'm saying. That's my favorite part. That's my favorite part.
Did you know that Kodak, the film company,
the camera company,
yeah, you know they brought back a discontinued kind of film just to film that show.
That's tight. That is fucking tight. And that's what I was trying to say the other day. Like, if I'm gonna break down The Godfather, apart from the acting and all its other plethora of like amazing things that is going for it, right? One of the Godfather is what they teach in film school for like what good like technical filmmaking is.
We have that Euphoria fucking filter right now, bro.
It's I'm not saying you'll love it. I'm just saying you'll appreciate what's good about it. You'll appreciate the acting. You'll appreciate the directing.
It looks good. I mean, and Zendaya hasn't been missing.
But see, that's what I'm saying. Like, Zendaya's in like a third of the episodes.
Yeah.
It's again one of those things where like it's something so different than what you think it is.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Because if it's about Zendaya's character being a drug addicts just go missing sometimes, bro. And you just have to... Anyways.
No. Go ahead and finish your thought. But like, let's reel it back.
But relating back to Horimiya. Horimiya is a lot more of this... if the ending of episode 1 is literally just them starting the relationship, right? And her adopting this loser nerd with no friends into her friend group. And, like, that's what it's like when you start a new relationship. You know what I mean? Like, you start introducing... You want to hang out all the time because you're trying to get to know this person. So that means you're automatically, like, being brought around to their friends all the time.
And it's something very healthy to do, guys. I mean, you can't just run away with your girlfriend, you know, and leave all your friends behind. Emerson, Ricky Goya.
And Ricky. Well, Emerson in his last relationship.
By the way, congratulations to Ricky. He got our last giveaway, but he never sent the picture.
I think he hated it. We got him a load Bulma because he said he liked Dragon Ball.
Yeah, we got a lewd as Bulma though.
So, honestly, this shit was hot. I had people at...
We'll post a picture of it. We'll post a picture on Instagram.
I had people at TCG Battleground over at the Zaraplex, our unofficial sponsor. They get us their cool anime merchandise, and also the main locals outlet for Yu-Gi-Oh players in El Paso. I was talking to Jacob Banuelos, who was on our episode of Plastic Memories, and owns TCG Battleground. I was just like, just give me some cool Dragon Ball stuff. I don't want to put you out by taking like a $60, $70 figure or something, but like whatever you'll give me, I'll take it, right? If it's free, you know what I mean? I can't be picky about it. And I think Jacob really wanted to help a lot last month because we gave to the Down Syndrome Coalition, and he, you know, it's a good cause, and he wants to help out. It's for nonprofit means. We're not trying to be selfish about it. So I had people that work for him being like, fuck, why did you buy that Bulma? Why did he give you that Bulma? I was waiting to get that on my next check. And it's like, when I was leaving, there were like 3-4 people that wanted that off of me.
But congratulations, and thank you to our friends at TCG Battleground.
Yeah. Shout out to everybody there. Well, just Jacob, I guess. But back to Horimiya. So immediately when Hori starts adopting Miyamuda into her friend group, everyone's like weirded out by it, right? Like they're talking a lot at school because Miyamuda, I guess initially is like best friends with her little brother, because when he brings him in from hurting himself outside and introduces himself to Hori inside of her house, he starts going over every day and is like helping her watch her little brother while she's cooking and while she's prepping like his school stuff for the next day. And they're just spending a lot of time together, and they're hanging out. They're not entirely sure what they're doing. They're just like, okay, cool, I'm making a friend, kind of. And I think the good writing aspect when it comes to Miyamuda is somebody that's a loner and isn't used to having a friend group. He microanalyzes like all the situations he has with Hori. Because he doesn't want to like scare her away, and he also has certain expectations of what a friendship or a relationship is, right? Because he hasn't had those. Right. So you see him trying to talk his way out of like spiraling into like some pieces of anxiety that aren't meant to be there. So it'll be literally just like Hori like, oh, don't come over today, I got to do something with my family, and maybe Miyamuda in his head will be like, oh, why is she doing that? Does she hate me now? Is she annoyed with me? Am I spending too much time with her? And it's about him talking himself down and being like, no, she's still hitting me up the next day. Like,
yeah, and then again, he also has like this reach aspect to it as well, because he like sometimes outside of the inner dialogue you there's times where Hori would do something and he would be like, oh wow, she actually did that for me. Yeah. You know? He's like, he acknowledges that there is a good way to make the relationship, the friendship.
I like Hori's writing a lot because she's a tsundere, but she's not a tsundere. Because I feel like a generic tsundere, again, like Toradora, is just super mean all the time, but then secretly shy and like actually likes you, right? Hori is assumed today, but like she does it as a defense mechanism. Like she wants to protect her brother, herself, and like her family from any malintentions. So she's really quick to like chop you at the knees. You know what I mean? Just like, no, you're coming at me too hard. Like just gonna, you need to step the fuck back. Like she's protecting herself so that she can protect everybody else that she has a vested interest in. Right? She's like that with her best friend, the little blonde girl, Yuki. And so it's that's one of the endearing things, like the closer Miyamura gets, because one of the last narratives in like the very last episode coming out of Miyamura is he's kind of like when I see other people interacting, it's about being close to somebody, realizing somebody's boundaries, and like you can't cross them. Me and Hori are in love with each other, so there are no boundaries there. Like I can grab her hand without having to say so. Like she can come up and just like grab me and hold me, or they're just like they're one person. They're in a relationship. It's kind of endearing because that feels real. You know what I mean? Not like giant grandiose confessions of loves in the middle of a high school hallway, which like why the fuck.
And another thing about Horimiya's character like writing is that
Hori-san or Miyamura-kun? Horimiya's
I'm sorry, Hori. Kyoko, your Hori. Hori's character writing is that not only like we see Miyamura being, you know, outcasted and stuff like that. She also has this aspect of what you were talking about in Euphoria, like a child that had to grow up too fast.
Yeah.
You know, because not only do we visit her apartment, which is something rare in anime, but they invite him in. He meets the little brother. She's cooking on the side, but there's no mom, there's no parent, and we've seen this before that there's no parents around. Sometimes it's just for the sake of anime. We don't need the parents inside Digimon.
That's like every
you know what
anime.
I'm saying? You know, we don't need parents inside Pokemon, but we also see that aspect of her or where she's coming from too.
And I also think the character writing is Miyamura looks like he'd be a hoodlum, right? Like if you were even if this were Yu Yu Hakusho, he'd be marked as like a thug right away, right?
Like when in Weathering with You, when the kid is homeless for a little bit.
Yeah. Like just and well, I was talking about even the character design, like the long hair, the piercings, the tattoos, and everything. He'd be seen as like a bad guy. The first time he shows Hori's dad his tattoos, he's like, "I swear they're not Yakuza tattoos. I swear they're not Yakuza tattoos," because that's like the big issue in Japan. Anybody with tattoos, they're probably like
there'll be businesses that won't let you in if you have like
visible tattoos.
Excuse me.
So, and that's also like the different character dynamic about Miyamura, because he gets along so well with Hori's youngest brother because he's such a good guy. You know what I mean? He's just an earnest person.
What do you want to do now? You want to play
video games?
Right,
yeah, you want to like watch a horror movie?
TikToks? Let's fucking do TikToks.
Exactly. Yeah. He's just that like guy just watching a little kid going along with whatever the little kid says.
Mm-hmm. And what was I gonna mention? Damn, I forgot. The tattoos and piercings. Oh no, when the dad finds out about it, I love that little animation that they put. That they didn't show him because he was a weird ass like back and forth dialogue with Miyamura and Hori's dad. And it was like, hey, let's go take a bath together. It's like, what? What do you mean? And then Hori's like, yeah, go for it.
It's Japanese bath culture.
No, yeah, absolutely. We understand that, but then it goes into instead of I thought we were going into like a bath scene. Mm-hmm. Like I thought we were gonna go into the steam room and we were gonna see fucking Horimiya and Miyamura and Hori's dad interact.
His name's also Hori.
Oh yeah, Hori. That's right. And Hori,
Mr. Hori,
Hori-sama. He can be instead of seeing that, we pan out to the TV, and on the TV they're watching something like Horimiya in it, mm-hmm. where it is also like a soap opera almost.
But it's a lot more anime. Like it's a lot more dramatic, as opposed like it's like Horimiya is making fun of what it's not, kind of.
Mm-hmm. Correct. It's like a crime drama or something like that, and they're pointing out in scenes on the TV connecting it to the dialogue of Mr. Horisama and Miyamura. And I thought it was funny. I thought it was a great way to animate something, that animated direction.
I think I think like episodes 1 through 8 are probably my favorite of Horimiya, because it really
There's only 12, so that's more than 50%.
Hey,
13,
I'm not even saying that like the last like 5 episodes are bad or anything. It's just like what it likes to do is it wants to flesh out every character it introduces, right?
Yeah.
So if our main friend group is like, I think it's like 9 students, which you see on like the cover, just all with different colored hair. Like the character designing is pretty cool in Horimiya. That's one of my favorite parts too. And like the animation style is super modern, super modern, because like we talk about like capturing when anime used to capture the compression changes, when changing the format to like an audio to a to a TV broadcasting format, they came out a little foggy and the outlining doesn't look as good. Horimiya looks super crisp
All the time.
always. And like it likes to do that slight the anime filmmaking thing where it'll just like flex its animation style for just like one flick of the wrist. Like it'll be like Hori putting her hair back and it's just super fluid and like super outlined, and you're just like
And they also they do like this like super like indie kind of shots where, say we're having a conversation and you're looking at this frame, and they'll like just pan out to like the teacups or something like in the table while they're talking.
One of my favorite like
It's almost like a Shinkai thing.
Yeah. I was fuck. Thank you for saying Shinkai. I kept trying to remember his name. I couldn't. But one of my favorite like directing tropes, I don't know if it's in the light novel, but it's very prominent in the anime, is when a serious conversation starts, it'll like stop the music or just like leave a one note piano in the background. It'll give a white backdrop and it'll start showing like a colored shadow of the characters. So it'll be like somebody disappointing the other one or somebody telling somebody else something real, and it's just like, what? And then pause scene, white background, single note piano, and maybe like a green shadow coming out of the character. That's all the silhouette being shocked, like you're disassociating from that moment because you're so shocked. And that happens a lot in always like the perfect instances. And that's like one of my favorite directing tropes in this.
Honestly, as a first time watcher, like at the beginning it happened so much and I was like, what? Oh, I get it.
It's a metaphor. It's a direct. It's a visual metaphor.
It's a visual metaphor.
That's tight.
And then you're watching. I'm like, oh, okay, I know what he means, because I think I saw it the first 2 times, and I was like, oh, okay, cool. Whoa, what's going on?
Whoa.
And then like the next time somebody said something that I was like, oh, and then it happened, and I was like, oh, that's what it is. That's what it is.
Yep. And it's tight. It's super dope.
Dog, I don't know. Man, when I was watching this, I was like, I bet Drew loves this shit, because I'm watching it and I'm like,
for the character writing?
No, like for what it's like as a whole.
Oh.
And I'm watching it and I'm feeling and I'm listening to what they're saying, and I'm like I'm almost like, oh shit, dog, like what? And I'm like,
it'll be something corny. It's just like, you like him? Oh, bitch! Like,
yeah, exactly. I'm like, you silly Horimiya.
You silly bitch, but that other bitch likes him. Like, you want to fall for like the teenage drama a little bit.
And I was glad that I didn't have those instances where like we can't shut down our brains to something. But I'm glad and not that I had to, but like
it almost feels like
it gears you down by itself.
It does, but it almost feels like the Monogatari series where you want to listen to every line. You know what I mean? Like because there's not a lot of that's not. It doesn't feel flooded with dialogue.
Yeah, it's
like
not dense as fuck.
It's not opposed to just giving you blank scenes where it's just characters staring at each other and like trying to digest like what's going on. But at the same time, when it's clear that like there's scenes where the camera's just focused on somebody's face, and it's clear your focus is just supposed to be on them and what they're saying, and you want to listen to every line. Like, you really want to digest what's going on because they're describing something intangible like their feelings.
And also, I'd like to point out the same... we need to find a word for not only the tropey as male protagonist from all animes. We also have to find a word for the Demon Slayer kind of style when they want to make a joke. like they go into like dorky ass character modeling
Oh,
and stuff like that.
Honestly,
I wish there was a word for that.
I should have wrote it down, but like I found a term the other day. Again on Mother's Basement, I talk about him like every week. In a most recent episode he did for he might have been shitting on Ari Fuerta, which is like an isekai, which is really really fucking bad. But he used that term. It's something like character write-in or self write-in or self. He put it really well, but like you're right, we need like this other kind of term
because Horimiya uses that freely. They use it and it fits because there's a lot of moments when you're like, you either are trying to read Hori or Miyamura or many of these other lovely characters that we get, but sometimes, sorry, they like dumb down the not dumb down. They change the character modeling to
they'll make it
something
super
more
cartoony.
like Kobayashi almost.
Yeah, it's oh, what was I watching recently that did this?
Demon Slayer.
Well, Demon Slayer.
No, but it happens in a lot of.
But it's different. Demon Slayer. Something I wanted to say the other day was one of my favorite pieces of the Demon Slayer anime is that it's selective when it wants to go back to the manga drawing style, because I've said it before, the mangaka of Demon Slayer, she's not a really good drawer. She's not a really good illustrator.
Her words.
Yeah, she said that out loud. And like if you read the manga, you can kind of see that. But it's such like a good compelling story, you kind of just go with it. And you can tell the scenes or the character models that she really did try her best. But like 80% of the panels, especially the in-between episodes, where like the anime has that benefit where if it's a computer generated like 2D model, it can just like move its own model so the model always looks the same, right? The issue in Demon Slayer a lot of times is because she's having to draw every panel by hand, sometimes it looks wonky. It looks super fucking wonky. It's clear that she was rushing when drawing it, especially when it's like somebody's expression, like somebody's shocked or dismayed. It'll just like, it looks like a fucking 3-year-old drew it. Which is also the point, and that's one of my favorite pieces of the anime adaptation for Demon Slayer, that they kept those faces.
Absolutely. And because again, hearing Horimiya, they use them so well for like dorky, jokey moments, and not even jokey moments, but some moments that have like some depth to.
Yeah. One of the funny, one of the not funny but funny things that it is like the first. Well, I guess the second arc in the story, kind of, if you're thinking a bit in arcing terms. If the first arc is them meeting each other and like starting to hang out all the time, the second arc is one of Hori's best friends at school, this guy friend Toru. He was always in love with Hori, which like that's also sounds like something that would happen to high school. Like,
and you think it's gonna be a whole thing,
yeah.
Too. You know, like I'm like, oh shit, there's a love triangle shit. They're gonna fight. They're gonna fucking kiss at the end.
It really turns into a square really quickly too.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Which is also funny because like the thing about Hori and Miyamura's relationship is that it moves really quickly, really fast because they really like each other, right? And the thing about this Toru guy, he's always been like in the background of Hori's life, and he's always been hanging out with her, trying to get closer, and like trying to like get the courage to like ask her out. And that sounds like something that would really happen, right? But like I knew plenty of guys like this that like they got like embarrassed almost because if you're always in the background of somebody's life, they're never going to notice you. And then they get in a different relationship, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, but I knew her first, bro. What happened?
Dibs on a person, bro.
Yeah, dibs on a person with her own like feelings and wants. Like,
yeah, I was like, no.
And then that's kind of how it started acting, because like even by episode 2, it's that weird new relationship dynamic. It's like, do we put a label on it? Do we not put a label on it? Where they're clearly hanging out all the time. They're basically dating. They hang out with each other at school, walking to school, from school, after school. They're just always together. Their families are starting to like understand that they're in a relationship together because like he meets Hori's mom and all this other stuff, right? To the point that when Toru after school one day, like kind of confesses his love out of necessity to Hori, being like, hey, I know you're probably already in a relationship with this Miyamura guy. I don't know who the fuck this nerd is, but I'm tall, I'm cool, I've got purple hair. You should date me. and he, like, she's just like, why would I date you, bro? You're my friend.
And Like not only that, like fucking Miyamura was like, yeah, bro,
Go for it.
Go for it. And
Go for it,
I was like, what?
I think it's also because he hasn't had a lot of friends, right? So now that
He
he's
thinks this is not gonna last.
Right, now, yeah. Like, he doesn't think him and Hori's gonna last. He thinks it's almost a privilege that he's now friends with all of Hori's friends, like Toru and Yuki.
Yeah,
so
like, I had a good run.
He doesn't want to stir the pot. He's like, I'm just gonna try to keep friends as long as I can because I've never had friends before. So he kind of lets it happen. And Miyamura and Hori have that conversation at her house after school, after Toru confesses. And Miyamura's like, oh, yeah, what happened? Like, Toru told me he was going to confess his love. And her, being the sensible one that's actually had friendships before, being like, you did what, bitch? Like, we're basically dating, and you told somebody else that it was okay to ask me out. And he's kind of dumbfounded because...
She gets mad.
She gets
upset.
Well, it's that dynamic where he doesn't think he deserves her, kind of. Where he's just like, I'm lucky to, like, even be in the situation that I am, so I have to let you do whatever you want to do.
And, like, the dialogue was something like, it's okay, like, you don't have to keep being nice to me anymore.
Yeah, like she was pretending or something.
And then she gets pissed off. She's like, what?
You don't think I like you, bitch?
Bitch, I've been cooking. You've been taking care of my brother. We've been hanging out. It's like, send me a dick pic.
Exactly.
You know
Yeah, for real.
Yeah. And still don't
unless she says to.
Yeah, unless she says to. But yeah, and she gets mad at him. She's like, what are you thinking, stupid? I rejected that idiot. Not idiot. He doesn't call him an idiot because he's trying to call Miyamura the idiot.
Yeah.
It's like, no, I wasn't going to date him. I just let him down easy.
Yeah. And it's super wholesome because like so again we get that white backdrop scene with like with that Miyamura disassociation be like, oh,
Doctor
fuck,
Strange astral.
Yes, the astral projection from Doctor Strange thing, like just like, oh shit, maybe she does like me. Whoa. And that's like that's so tight when that happens because it really feels like a nice little like bow on like that story. Just like the character's self-actualization feels so real.
And I love that you brought that up, the word up, bow, because this anime is like a bow fest, a time bow fest is all around. And like what you were saying, the first 8 episodes are like the first 15 episodes of like Darling in the Franxx.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But not saying that the rest is bad like Darling in the Franxx, but like at the end,
it just doesn't matter as much.
It's just tying bows. Just tying bow here, tying a bow over here.
It's because the big bow is clearly Hori-san and Miyamura, and that bow is like tied off neatly at the end of like episode 8. So like, and that's what's funny / not funny because like, so the love square I'm describing is like, so Hori and Miyamura are basically dating, right?
And Toru's kind of salty, but not really.
Yes.
He's taking it very well.
So Toru's on the outside of the triangle, but then Hori's best female friend Yuki likes Toru. But then Miyamura and Toru essentially become best friends over how great Hori is. But it turns into more of that. Like they study together, they can go like get CDs together, whatever the fuck they do. That's kind of the weird thing about like the period of time it takes place in. So the manga or the light novel series isn't that old, but it feels like the writer was the mangaka was writing backwards to when he was in high school, when like you would go buy a CD single. Or like MP3 players weren't that widely like available, and everyone's got like, even though Hori has a smartphone, so like they kind of rewrote it a little bit. Where like Hori has a smartphone, she makes fun of Miyamura at certain points for having like a little flip phone where you can just text on. So it's I don't know. Anyway, but the point I'm trying to make is that Miyamura and Toru especially become best friends at a certain point.
Yes,
and like they get in a whole ass fist fight together. Like kind of, you know, they just kind of went a little too far when like trying to talk about Hori, because she's kind of like the he who shall not be named when they're hanging out together, right? Just like, oh, I can't make fun of you.
I'm about to hang out with
yeah, I'm about to hang out with my girlfriend who you like.
Girl. Yeah.
Who you like, but that's that. Yeah, so it's one of those to where they get in a whole ass like fist fight with each other, and both show up with like black eyes to school, and it
gets broody too. Like Miyamura is like, oh my god, I'm never gonna be able to be friends with him. I'm never gonna be able to show up my face here again.
Like, he was embarrassed. Like,
Yeah.
Miyamoto beat the shit out of Toru, and it was like, oh fuck, I can never show my face to him again. And it's cool, you know what I mean? Because for a little bit, it feels like as an audience, you're in the friend group with them. Like, you're really watching a piece of writing that I was telling Karen that I feel like she'd like the show for.
Oh, she watches it?
No, she hasn't, but I was telling her, like, you might like it for these reasons. Is Karen's always talking about guys doing stupid shit on the internet, right? Like, why do on Valentine's Day or the weekend of the Bad Bunny concert, all the guys in El Paso were being like, oh, women with kids are gonna be going to Bad Bunny. Like, why are dudes so concerned with what girls are doing all the time? Or like, Karen works as a bartender. Why are guys always getting in unnecessary fights and shit like that? Just like stupid shit that she doesn't understand, being like, boys are stupid. And I'm like, I agree completely. 80% of the shit I've done that was bad, I have no explanation for it. I'm just like, I don't know.
It's just me in the moment.
Dumb boy brain be dumb sometimes.
Yeah, big dumb.
Big dumb sometimes, like sending a dick pic unsolicited. And Hori will audibly put that in dialogue, being like, why are boys so stupid? Like, literally looking at Yuki, being like, guys are the dumbest people on earth. Why do we like these idiots?
I don't know how they like us, but they like us.
I don't. But that friend dynamic starts happening, and we get like sub relationships start being fleshed out. So there's like 6-7 people in this high school clique that are part of the group, right? So it's Hori, Miyamura, Yuki, the blonde best friend of Hori, Remi Ayasaki, who's the girlfriend of the current class president, who's Sengoku. We have Toru, who Yuki likes, and he likes Hori. We have this guy Shu Iura,
Sawara, who likes Hori.
Yes, but she's not part of the core.
No, she's not. But that happened like shortly
Yeah.
after episode 3.
Yeah, we can talk about that one too, because
They make it official.
Yeah, they make it official after the fight they have about Toru, right? They finally put a label on it. Because even Tori's mom likes Miyamura a lot, right? Like, she kind of tricks Hori to like leave the house and go grocery shopping while she introduces herself to Miyamura and like is getting to know him, and you know, she's protecting her daughter. She's being a good mom. And she kind of like gives her sense of approval. So then like they kind of officially start dating. And when people at school ask like, oh, why are you always hanging out with Miyamura? He's such a fucking weird emo kid. Hori will be like, well, because that's my boyfriend. I like him. Like,
because there's not nosy bastards like you guys are.
Yeah, and I think the funny part is that the funny part about everybody being introduced to Miyamura is that he actually is attractive. So every like character introduction with him is them just realizing that behind the long hair and the glasses, he's actually hot, right? Which is like, again, one of those character write-in things that I could see nerds being like, oh yeah, if a girl just got to know me, she'd realize that my eyelashes are super long.
I shower sometimes,
and then I actually have piercings and stuff, blah, 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 blah. Because even Miyamura's the first time Yuki realizes him is he has to go run to a grocery store sale for eggs, since Hori's always like cooking or whatever. So he jumps the fence at the school, takes off his glasses, pulls his hair back, and he's just like booking it, jumping over fences and stuff. And Yuki sees like a tall guy with like black hair like jumping over a fence with like piercings and tattoos and stuff, being like, oh, Hori, I saw the hottest guy after school yesterday. You'll never believe it. And she's just like, who, Miyamura? And she's like, no, not that fucking loser.
Yeah.
And she's like, no, like Miyamura.
Yeah. Piercings, tattoos.
This is why I like him. And she's and same thing happens with Toru. Toru just like having watching. Well,
they're like in the locker room or something, right?
Yeah, I was gonna say watching, but like insert non-sus term here. They're having a conversation while he's changing so that they can go to PE.
Yeah,
and he's just like, "Oh, Toru, hide me! Like, I need to put on this jacket because all the teachers are gonna see my tattoos and I'm gonna get in trouble."
And like he's like, "What?"
Yeah, and she's like,
"He has tattoos.
He has long eyelashes, and he doesn't actually need the glasses."
Oh yeah, he does have long eyelashes. That was the whole thing.
Toru brought that up. The first time that's brought up is fucking Toru, bro.
Right.
He's just looking at him in the face, being like, "Oh, no wonder she likes you. You're kind of handsome."
Yeah.
So, who else am I talking about? So I'm talking about Shiura. Oh, you were talking about Sawada.
Sawada.
So they're third years. The second year, Honoko Sawada, after they become official, she's this short, long, black-haired, pale-skinned girl who's a second year who's in love with Hori.
Yeah, but at first it doesn't seem like that because the anime is not trying to serve it to you like that.
Yeah.
At first, Sawada is like, she looks upset walking through the hallways, and then she starts following Miyamura, and she's
like pissed, like, just pressed, look like she's about to jump in.
Because everybody at school too, they're talking like, "Oh, did you hear the Hori and Miyamura are a thing now?" Blah blah blah.
Oh, I thought you was so hot, and now she's dating that loser. She's whack now.
And then Sawada approaches Miyamura and he's like, "Hey, you, get your hands off of her!" Fucking Back to the Future style.
Yeah.
And she's pissed because he's going out with Hori when she loves Hori.
I was describing her character like that because she just looks like a girl version of Miyamura. Which I think is funny about like that character design. Because it's literally just a girl who looks exactly like her boyfriend, like in love with Hori.
Correct. Yes.
And they live in the same apartment building. They're literally neighbors to the point that she gets locked out of her apartment one time. And she hates Miyamura because she thinks Miyamura like stole her girl, who was not her girl, from her.
You don't get to call dibs on people.
You don't get to call dibs on people. And like Miyamura invites her into his apartment, is kind of like talking to her, and like it's again one of those like getting to know each other kind of things where she thinks that he's super scummy or like tricking her, and she starts to realize, oh, maybe Hori actually likes him because he's a genuinely good guy and like actually cares about her. And like, but Miyamura will do like these soft jabs, being like, Sawada will ask, "Oh, how many times has Hori been over here?" And he's like, "Oh, maybe like 2-3 times. I'm normally at her place like every day."
And then she's like, "What?
You're at her place?" And that's what's funny about it. It's a lot of these relationships. They're not super dramatic, which they're not supposed to be. Like there's not a lot of drama here. I think the most drama comes out of the relationships between Yuki, Toru, and this third guy,
Shu. No. What is a Shu or Luda? Luda.
Is his name Yuda?
Luda or Yura?
I can't remember his name. The guy with the red hair.
Oh, red hair?
The one that's not the class president. What's his name?
Oh, fuck. His best friend. No, not his best friend.
No. He's just...
Sengoku?
No. Not Sengoku. He's the class president. Yanagi. So, Toru Ishikawa is in love with Hori. Yuki is in love with Ishikawa. But then this guy, Sengoku, ends up being in love with Yuki. Right? So we start getting this like sub-love triangle, like outside of like the main one. And it's clear, like even in these characters' introduction, that Yuki does like Ishikawa, right? Mm-hmm. Because she's just kind of... She's like the bestie girl, you know what I mean? She goes over to the house to play video games. Like she's down to tease him. She's one of these anime girls that wears like a sweater that's too big for her so that it fits over her hands. Like,
Ariana Grande style.
Yeah. So when when this guy who ends up being I said it was Sengoku, but it's Yanagi. Mm-hmm. When Yanagi like kind of confesses his love to Yuki, she comes up with this ploy, this lie, to get Ishikawa to be her fake pretend boyfriend so that she can tell Yanagi to kind of fuck off, right? Even though it's what she actually wanted. So throughout like 3-4 episodes, the B plot, like in the middle of the season, ends up being Yuki wishing that Toru would kind of see her like that. Which is, again, what Toru Ishikawa wants from Hori, or what he wanted from Hori initially before he got close to Miyamura.
And then plot line here, we have Sakura who wants Yagami to be her boy.
Oh, I forgot all about Sakura.
Yeah.
So then this friend group, this main friend group in like class 2B, I think with their classes, no, it would have been like 3B or something, is... If in that homeroom class it's Hori, Miyamura, Yuki, Ishikawa, at a certain point, Sakura Kono, who's like the secretary for the student council, ends up being in love with Ishikawa, and she wants him to notice her like that, and she gets actively jealous by Ishikawa pretending to be Yuki's pretend boyfriend. Mm-hmm. And then inside of the like student council dynamic, the vice president, or like the girlfriend for the president, her name is Remy, is dating the president Sengoku, but then Yanagi, the guy that liked Yuki, ends up being associated with the student council, and Remy kind of being like the superficial, petty, pretty girl, like kind of starts toying around with him a little bit, which pisses off Sengoku, because every character here, every like relationship dynamic gets like at least half an episode about it. Mm-hmm. So there's like a whole episode about Remy and Sengoku starting to fall in love with each other. Because Sengoku, he's a class president, which is somehow cool in Japan. Like I never remember
cool.
I never remember my class president being cool. But she starts getting to know him, and he's kind of dorky. Like he likes reading a lot, like especially fantasy novels and stuff. Mm-hmm. He can't stand up for himself. He's not, for somebody that's supposed to be a leader, like a student council president, he's not much of a leader. Mm-hmm. And it's kind of just her being bored, seeing somebody that's on the up and coming in terms of like social dynamics at school, the would-be class president, and kind of giving him a chance. And like she does fall in love with him, but it reminds me of one of those like character writings where she's not opposed to looking for the next best thing. Like Remy never feels completely about Sengoku.
Correct.
And that becomes, the Remy and Sengoku dynamic becomes an issue for our main couple, Hori and Miyamura, because Remy, like being the cute girl that like pretends to be dumb so that she can manipulate people, loses like a whole document that Hori prepared for the student council club. Mm-hmm. And Sengoku kind of like presses Hori about it, like in the middle of the hallway in class, like in the middle of a school day. And it looks like Hori's about to cry, right? Because she doesn't want to stand up to the student council president. And Miyamura basically assaults the guy, like assaults Sengoku by just like headbutting him really hard and telling him to fuck off. Mm-hmm. And he presents the document that he found that Remy had dropped the day before, which is the missing like budget proposal or whatever the fuck it was. Mm-hmm. And Remy, she talks about herself in the third person. She's like, oh, Remy didn't mean to do that. Remy didn't mean to lose it. And it just shows like this whole other relationship dynamic where it's one person just trying to manipulate the other, which is supposed to it's a juxtaposition of Hori and Miyamura, because they're so real with each other. They just want to be like encompassed within each other.
Mm-hmm. None of these like crazy triangles and
like they have the most mature relationship. Mm-hmm. That's what I'm talking about. Like for two 17-year-olds in a relationship with each other, they have literally the most mature relationship I've ever seen.
Yep.
And it again, like it feels so real, like what like a real like high school relationship would have been, because it's like you spend all your time like with this person. You eventually get the nerve to put a label on it, right? And then your families are so comforting towards each other that you guys actually do like go further in the relationship. There's even a point where Hori's estranged father, Kyosuke, gets like reintroduced to the family. We just thought he was like a deadbeat, like in no way associated with the family. But he just shows up one day and he's like, hey daughter, hey son, y'all miss me? Like your cool cigarette smoking dad's here. Mm-hmm. And Hori wants nothing to do with it. She knows that he's abusive and just like leaves their family, and she doesn't like what he does to her mom, and
how they present it to you. It's so off-putting, because you know the dad is gone.
Yeah. Because
of this this previous episode when Hori has a fever.
Yeah.
And she's having like a fucking awake fever dream with Miyamura, because Miyamura's there to treat to attend to her while she has the cold or the flu or whatever she does. But in anime, the fucking fevers are like out of control.
Yeah. Like it's such a bad fever, you go like delusional.
Exactly. And Hori is having this like a fever dream where she remembers her mom not being there all the time, and her dad not being there and shit, you know. And when the dad comes into the scene, into the fucking into the animation, you're like, what? It's like this guy just went for his pack of cigarettes and now he has it and now he came back.
Yeah, just years later, like remembered he had a family.
You don't know what's going on.
Going back on that fever episode, that was when Miyamura confessed his love to Hori.
Oh yeah, and she was awake.
Yeah. She's like awake but not awake, but she has a fever, and he like kind of ditches the first half of school to like take care of her, and that's when like before he leaves the room, he's just kind of like, I love you so much, Hori. Like I'm so happy to have met you, and like you're opening me up and like teaching me so much more. It's really sweet. It's it does do that anime trope thing where she's just like in bed, nervous, like shaking, like, oh my god, did he really just say that kind of thing? Which it's fine. It's still anime. I get it, but like,
you have to know what you're getting into. It's just gonna be corny like that, and it's nice.
It's corny, but it's not corny because there's some scenes. Yeah. So I don't want to hold back on it. I want to talk about the episode where it's raining. So there's an episode where it's raining. They've been dating for a while. They've dealt with the Tori Ishikawa situation. They've dealt with Sawada. They've dealt with the student council yelling at Hori. They're really close together. Hori, at a certain point in the season, starts realizing that, like, oh my god, I made this friend group way too late in my high school career. Like, we're about to graduate, and everyone's going to move on and, like, go on to different things, right? But my main thing is I just do not want to lose Miyamura. And she becomes obsessed with him and trying to keep him, and, like, it's insecure, but it's not insecure. It's just her knowing what she wants and not wanting to lose it, right? So there's this day where it's raining after school. They were going to go do X and Y things. Her brother's at like softball practice or whatever the fuck he does, even though it's raining. I don't know. The parents aren't there because who knows where the dad is. The mom's working overtime like always.
Charlie Brown style.
Yeah. They're just home alone, and it's raining, it's cold, and Hori's uncomfortable and freezing, and she's just like, Miyamura, just hold me. And they hold each other, and she's like, wait, I want to be comfortable in the bed. So they move to the bed, and then she's like, Miyamura, just like, come here, kiss me. And like, he just leans in. And like, I think it's interesting that this whole scene is told from her perspective. Like, I'm describing what she's thinking, not because like I'm more inclined to be in her position, but like, I only know where she's coming from as how the anime is directed, right? And the piece of dialogue as she pulls Miyamura into her is like, I had this fire inside of me and I wanted him to feel it. And like, cutscene.
I have this warmth or some shit like that.
It was fire.
Fire?
The dub put it as fire.
Yeah, and it seems very like penetrate me kind of.
Yeah. That's what I'm trying. I got this fire in me. Only your dick can sussiate it. Like,
yeah.
So that's the subtext there. It's never said explicitly, but like they totally hooked up that night for the first time.
And to compare it to Domestic Girlfriend, it's like it edges you to what Domestic Girlfriend is.
Domestic Girlfriend wanted to be like, here's sex, here's the relationship. Like,
and then Horimiya just edges you all the time.
But see, Horimiya's really how like that would have gone. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Like
it happens all very organic.
Yeah, if you're losing your virginity to this girl and you've never had a relationship before, you've never really interacted with girls before, you like her a lot. She would probably have to make you uncomfortable to put you in that situation, right?
I'm sorry, side tangent real quick. Did you hear about have you heard about the Horizon Zero games?
No.
Is it Horizons? Horizon Zero Dawn or something like that games?
Sounds familiar.
For PS5. Okay. Anyways, the new one's coming out. And I mean, amazing graphics. It's like that next top hitter for PS5.
Okay. And
the poster that they made has a show of the main female protagonist of the game, and you can see her peach fuzz.
Oh, yes, it is Horizon Zero Dawn. Yeah.
And then nerds were like, "What does she have a beard?" It's like, just say you've never been with a girl before.
Yeah, just tell me you've never seen a woman close up before. Like, oh my, no, I get exactly what you mean. But again, like that's the end of like episode 8, like them hooking up for the first time, right? And it's never brought up again.
No, it's out of context.
That happens in like the first half of that episode. The rest of the episode is them just at school acting normal. Oh, we did fuck last night. Oh, that bitch. Like, like nothing like that, right?
Nothing.
So, it's sweet because that's what I remember it really being like in like when I'm like 16 years old, like having my first girlfriend. Like you just hang out with each other so much because you've never gotten to know somebody like this, and then one day, you know what I mean, like.
And then to the point they were saying, comparing it to Euphoria, like about teenagers growing up too fast. Unfortunately, you know, there is some fortunate ways you can grow up, and I feel like the relationship with Hori and Miyamura is well
for half of our episode on Rent a Girlfriend. I was bitching about how the main character had just never been in a relationship until he was like 19, 20 years old, which is the main issue in Rent a Girlfriend. Horimiya is the opposite of that. You know,
like, dude, relax.
Yeah, you know what I mean. Just chill out. Like you'll get a girlfriend, you'll get a girl. It's fine, and that's what it is. Because at a certain point, one of the funniest earlier dynamics is the fact that he's hot because he has tattoos and piercings, right? And long hair. At a certain point, because he's tired of embarrassing, air quotes, embarrassing Hori at school by not being as presentable as other people would think, he cuts his hair, and you like never see his tattoos or piercings again. It's just like lightly brought up sometimes that he still has holes in his face.
Yeah, and he cut his hair because of somebody, right?
It was her. It's because everyone just kept like pressing her at school.
Oh,
they
true,
kept hearing rumors being like, "Oh, why is she with that long-haired brooding guy? What is up with her? What is wrong with?" So like
now he looks like everybody else.
Now he looks like everybody else except with long eyelashes. Just like black, because literally all the dudes have the same character modeling just with different color of hair. So, it's. That's like the main bit of Horimiya, because like if the end of episode 8 is them hooking up, the next 4 or 5 episodes are going back on the honestly, most of it centers around Ishikawa, because we were talking about Kono, the secretary for the student council, having this ginormous crush on Ishikawa, right?
She was baking cookies for him.
Bro, this shit broke my heart, because you hear her, she's best friends with Remy, who's the cute pink-haired ponytailed girl who's the president of the student council president, or who's the girlfriend of the student council president, right? And like she's really short and skinny and dainty and has a soft voice, and whenever Kono talks about herself, she's like, I'm a little bigger, I'm a little taller, like I wear glasses, my hair's not as cute as hers. Like these are real insecurities I could see somebody having, and she knows that, or she thinks Ishikawa is in this relationship with Yuki, even though it's a fake relationship to turn off Yanagi. But it makes her insecure. It eats her up inside. Like, she likes this guy so much, even though he barely knows her, that she just has to confess to him one day. She's just kind of like, I know you're going to say no. I know you like Yuki. I can see it in how you act around her that you genuinely like her, which is news to Ishikawa, because he thinks that he's pretending to be in this relationship with her. And it's again one of those like white backgrounds disassociating with the colored silhouette thing, where he gets that actualization from speaking to her. She's crying out loud in the middle of the hallway, trying to give him some cookies, being like, yo, I want to be with you so bad. I know you don't know me that well, but I'm down to get to know you because I think you're cute. I think you're funny. From the little I've seen of you, I'm down to get to know you more. But I see the way you act with this other girl that you actually need to be with her. And that's when you get that disassociated look of like realization from him, where he's like, oh, fuck, like maybe I do like Yuki. And Ishikawa's in a weird position because he clearly, honestly, there's like an episode and a half where I almost think he's going to be with
I thought so too. He punks out.
He doesn't, because he tells Yuki that straight up. Like Yuki's his best girlfriend, his best friend, period. And he is like, hey, you know that taller girl from student council? She likes me. I don't know what to do.
And then if you put that whole thing about like Yuki and Ishikawa pretending to be a couple and knowing pretending to be a couple, I mean, Kano asked Yuki, "Is like, hey, are you in a relationship with him?" And she said, "Yeah."
Yeah.
Which when it wasn't true. But it turns into like this whole emotional thing about Yuki hurting Kano's feelings because she lied to her about how she felt. Because now Ishikawa is telling Yuki, it's like, hey, this girl likes me and I don't know what to do.
Yeah, I might go for it. What do you think, friend?
Yeah, exactly. And then she's like, nah.
She takes like a week off of school. She's so upset about it,
Yeah.
bro. Like, she's so upset that somebody likes her not boyfriend that she just doesn't show up to school for like 5 days. Because
And that's big in Japan. You know?
Well, it's one of those where, like, if the benefit of Hori and Miyamura is that they're kind of mature in how they treated the relationship, everyone else, Remy, Yuki, Ishikawa, they're so immature when they talk about relationships. You know what I mean? Like, Yuki even tried taking up cooking to try to show up Kono when it came to, like, making Ishikawa, like, snacked goodies and stuff, right? Mm-hmm. But she's not a good cook. She's like embarrassed, like going out of her way for a boy like that, even though she genuinely likes him. Mm-hmm. That she just like disappears for like 5 days, doesn't answer her texts, doesn't show up to class. She shows up one day, and Ishikawa kind of takes her up to the roof. And there's like this cool, again, visual metaphors. We haven't had a lot of visual metaphors lately, where it's a snowing day, right? And Ishikawa is clearly trying to like tell her that we need to talk about us. You know what I mean? Like, this has gone too far. We need to talk about us. Yeah. But Yuki, being the immature one, not wanting to confront the situation, starts talking about snow and how much she hates snow and how much she hates the slush because it ices and it gets in the way. And that's kind of like a metaphor for their relationship. She wants everything to be bright and sunny and clear and easy. Mm-hmm. But that's not what relationships in the real world are like.
Is this going to be in the test, Mr. English?
Hey, man, honestly...
No, good point that you're making, because it definitely is. And she, in her denial and her nonsensical...
it almost seems like rambling,
replies,
but she is saying something.
Yes,
kinda.
yes, but in her replies, Ishikawa is like, oh, she doesn't want me to dump her right now. And he kind of doesn't.
Like honestly, I think Ishikawa got the short end of the stick. I'm really upset with how Yuki treated this, because he took her up on the roof and was like, "Tell me now. I will drop that green-haired bitch with the glasses. I don't give a shit. Like, if you want me to be about you, I'll be about you right now. Like, we can do this if you just are upfront with me right now." Mm-hmm. And he still can't get a straight answer from her, and he still like treats it like a monogamous relationship that he's in with her the rest of the season, which isn't fair to him. Like, he went the extra mile to... He met her in the middle emotionally, and she didn't. And that's really fucked up on, like, her part, because she's almost, like, getting the best of both worlds. Like, she doesn't need to commit to him, but she also has him. Mm-hmm. Which is... That's evil. That's so immature. That's so mean.
It is evil. And then you feel twice as bad for Sakura.
Yeah, because not only did she get, like, not dumped, but dumped, kind of.
And not dicked.
Yeah, and not dicked. But, like, the guy that she was confessing her love to didn't even get the bitch. Like, it's...
It is evil.
That's mean. Like, evil. You can't be taking advantage of people like that. That's not cool.
Yeah. And, like, she dropped the whole bacon thing. Like, you don't see her baking for him anymore.
No.
You know?
That's so mean. And,
Bad Yuki.
And, the Yanagi thing is brought up a lot in the last like 3-4 episodes, but that's probably like my least interesting like person, because so Yanagi is the guy that confessed his love to Yuki, right? And that's why Yuki and Ishikawa started the fake relationship thing. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. But he ends up being like the hottest guy in school, like even more than Ishikawa or Miyamura. But his quirk is he doesn't wear his glasses, so he doesn't know who he's talking to. Mm-hmm. And even Yuki like approaches him at a certain point, just like, "Are you sure you like me, bro? Like, you're not wearing your glasses. I'm not really all that hot. You don't like my friend Hori over there? Like, she's a lot hotter than I am." Mm-hmm. And it's
And if you give me the opportunity to shit on Code Geass one more time,
okay.
It might seem like a lot of characters here. I mean, we're talking about 15, 10 characters here. And you were also talking about like the characters that you think they're gonna have some more flush, but they don't, because at the beginning there's like this pervy ass teacher.
Yeah,
like towards Horimiya. It's like, oh, you look cute today,
even though you're flat chested. I like my girls flat chested.
Yeah, and you're like, yo, what the fuck? And
that's
like,
never brought up again.
Like yeah, exactly. But like to your point, yeah, there is a lot of characters like that. But me as an audience, I feel like I know that they don't matter for some reason. In comparison to Code Geass, where they're like, "Oh, I'm General so and so, blah blah blah. I'm gonna help you do something." And
he dies 3 episodes later.
And then he dies yeah.
So Horimiya, the manga, the light novel series.
You said it was all put into this?
Was originally a webcomic series, right? A la One Punch Man. And then it was picked up by Square Enix, and then it was published in volumes. They redrew a lot of it to make it like more professional, right? 16 volumes. It's a lot. It's kind of a lot. I think that might be more than the main series of Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid right now. Apparently they finished the ending sequence in episode 13 is the ending of the light novel series. So then that means they cut a lot of content, like a lot of content. And I'm glad you brought up Code Geass, because I was thinking of Code Geass when I was watching Toradora this week, because Toradora's like 26 episodes, maybe 28, and in the 2000s they were anime adapting so few IPs that when they got their hold on one, they would produce twice as much content as they needed to, right? Which is why Code Geass feels really bloated, right?
Yeah.
Which is why Naruto has the most filler of any anime ever, right? Like 50, 60 something episodes.
Just an episode about ramen.
Makes no sense.
Yeah.
Right, but as opposed to now, I'm watching Horimiya. There's so many new anime every season. There's like 30 every season. 5 of them get watched, right? Horimiya feels like it's a victim to that. It feels like the kind of thing that if made like 10 years ago would have been like a 24, 26 episode run, because it needs that. Like, it really has enough content for it.
I mean, we've had this conversation before. I can't remember the last time we saw something that put in too much into 12 episodes. Yeah. But here we see almost a whole year of school.
Yeah.
We see summer, we see winter.
It's like K-On!
Yeah, we see spring, and yeah, exactly like
it's
K-On!
Like season 1 of K-On!
Yeah, like K-On! And now we're seeing them graduating. Something that you rarely see, in animes in this thing.
I wish I had more time with it, though. That's what kind of hurts my feelings. I really wish I had more time with it.
Because just like Code Geass, in this 12 episodes of 10 different characters, some of these stories you are kind of wanting more from, and you just are left in the, and they tie a ribbon on it, but you're like, oh fuck, it just finished.
That was it. Like, because you're right, like the anime is really forthright with like tying off stories or little character arcs, right? Like, oh, that was it for Ishikawa and Yuki. What do you mean? Like, that could have been its own 6 episode little bit.
I thought Yuki and Kano were gonna throw hands and shit.
Yes, let's go. Like, what do you mean? And it's just like, nope, that was it. I hope you liked it. And I'm just like, it suffers from being created right now. Because like, if it looks great visually, like the character modeling, the directing, the opening animation sequence, beautiful. Like they even incorporate like CGI. Yeah.
The closing's like a 3D Tamagotchi kind of thing.
It's gorgeous. It's gorgeous. It looks really, really good. And like, you could only accomplish that in like 2021, obviously, right? You couldn't have done that 10 years ago. But it also suffers from the opposite problem in 2021, where there's so many IPs and so much broadcasting, like squishing, that like networks don't want to adopt too much anime because they only have so many hours in the day that they can broadcast it, right? There's so many IPs out in every given anime season that it's like not everything's going to get the time it deserves. And that sucks. That kind of sucks. It does suck. It sucks that there's so many things that have yet to be adapted that probably deserve to be adapted. But the anime industry is like, it's probably always been cutthroat, but it's so much more compressed and cutthroat that Rurouni Kenshin, a guaranteed hit that's probably gonna make millions of dollars, is getting another anime adaptation, even though the author is a known pedophile.
That's what I was talking about.
As opposed to anything else, like we can't get like Horimiya couldn't have been 2 seasons because the bandwidth's being taken up by Rurouni Kenshin season 2. Mm-hmm. Like that sucks. That fucking sucks.
Yep.
Like Horimiya maybe could have been the best romance anime ever if given twice as many episodes.
Definitely. I definitely wanted more. I feel like 13 episodes is a little short, you know?
It sucks.
But again, it's it has a nice close. I'm sorry, but it does.
I do want. Okay, we can talk about the last arc. So what? It's Christmas, right?
Yeah.
So Japanese school does the smart thing, and like it's actually January to December, as opposed to like in the U.S. where like our school year ends like in June or late May.
Yeah.
So it's Christmas time. Hori starts having an existential crisis because she doesn't know what's going to happen with her and Miyamura's relationship after they graduate high school. She's worried about Christmas and seeing him. Like, she wants to see him as much as possible, but his family owns a bakery, so the holidays are a big pastry season, so he's really busy helping. And at that same time, we're tying the bow on all the other relationships. So Remy and the class president have like more that they need to tie off. Kono still hasn't described to Remy her issue with Ishikawa, so there's still that unsolved dynamic. And Yanagi ends up having a conversation with Yuki's sister inside of like a shopping center. Well, it's like a town square, like in front of like a fountain almost, like in front of like a Christmas tree and stuff, like in a public area. So the ending of the relationship is just kind of like how the end of high school feels. Like I remember my senior year of high school, my junior year of high school, I was doing what's it called? I was a theater tech. Like, so I would help with the theaters, with the theater class, like in my high school. So I would be doing like the lights, the music and stuff like that, and helping with make the sets and stuff. And I remember the comment from people my own age that weren't in the same classes with me and didn't know me that well, thinking I was a senior because I felt so disassociated and like I didn't have time for high school. Like I didn't want to be there. Like I felt too grown up for high school at fucking 16, right? And I related to the ending of Horimiya because they just made this friend group like 6 months ago, right? Like all these different relationships we've been trying to describe, even Hori and Miyamura, Ishikawa and Yuki, all that.
Everybody's friends.
Just been like the last half of their senior year, which is like the worst time to be trying to make close friends, like in high school, right? And that's how kind of like my senior year of high school felt. Because like if my junior year and like the beginning of my senior year, I feel like I didn't want to be there and I was too grown and mature for everybody. I got a group of friends that I was really close to, and even like my mom liked, and like my parents were like, "Oh, we're so and so. Like, are you going out with who? Like this and that." Like my senior year of high school, like everybody felt really close. Like my entire graduating class, like Emma would felt really close to the class of 2011. I don't know why. It sounds corny, it sounds whack, but like every time we meet up with each other again, and you know how you just keep bringing up the same fucking 5 stories from high school, everyone just talks about the same 5 stories because we all were there for whatever reason, the entire graduating class.
It transcends, bro. It's crazy.
And that's how
and what you were talking about, I'm sorry to interrupt, but what you were talking about, this feels like the author is transcending his experiences through this animation.
Right. Which I'm glad, and that me and Mr. Sir had the same relationship, had the same experience. Because I remember I was excited to go to Texas Tech, or it took me, I was a year delayed. I had to, because of financial reasons, like I couldn't transfer to Texas Tech right away, so I did my first year at UTEP. But I remember people going to Michigan State or Ohio State, and people going to USC or all these, or UT and all these cool schools, and being like, wow, I'm so jealous. Everyone's going to be moving away. All these cool people that I feel like I've grown up so much with in the past 6 months, like the last part of high school, like everyone's just going to be gone, and we're going to be all doing our own things, and we're never going to see each other again. And that's like the main piece of anxiety at the end of Horimiya, is everyone's just being like, I think it's Remy that brings it up. Like, she's in, like, the student council room. They're cleaning everything up and getting rid of everything from the school year. And they're like, holy shit, dude, that's it. Can we hang out during the summer? Or, like, during the break, please? Yeah. Like, during the winter break? Like, I'm going to miss you all. And we get, like, a whole half episode, which is basically like a daydream that Miyamura is having about what it would have been like if he had never gotten close to Hori. And even the directing style changes. We start seeing 2D, like, panoramic scenes in the hallway. Like, people, like, it's a static scene in the hallway. It's like a 2D, like, scope. Like
it's like the Death Note kind of
it's like if
effect.
It's like if the scene was cut away and you just see the right side of the hall and the left side of the hall and people walking across it. And it's people talking. It's Remy talking with Sengoku. It's Sengoku's relationship with Remy being different because she never changed her hairstyle to try to make him jealous. It's Ishikawa and Yuki maybe being closer together because Ishikawa was never tied to his would-be, won't-they relationship with Hori. And it's sad because it's Miyamura being like, in the past 6 months I've grown so much and I've met so many nice people that I could see me being friends with, like, the rest of my life, that, like, I'm upset that it's ending. But at the same time, he has a conversation with his middle school self, with his old self, like, on the roof of the school. And he's real with himself. He's like, I'm always going to acknowledge that you're there, but I am so much happier with the person I've grown up to be in this short amount of time. And I wouldn't trade that for anything. Like, even if I'm a burden to Hori or whatever, I think she still wants me here.
And, man, I know you pointed this out about, like, yeah, that's not the traditional thing to do here in the American culture, to, like, declare your love for somebody that you only known 6 months. It gets me thinking about what we've talked about, like, throughout this fucking 83 episodes of this anime conversation, is that, the people have to test into middle schools. They have to test into fucking high schools. And not only that, they have to make the decision that are they going to go into the workforce or are they going to go into university?
Yeah.
Which is a really big thing. And then again, something like Miyamura and Hiro being like, you know what, dude, I really fuck with you. Let's go to fucking school together. You know? And it seems weird because I'm an American.
Yeah.
But it doesn't seem weird when I've watched almost 100 pieces of anime in the past year and a half.
Yeah, I do want to talk about that conversation you're talking about. So it's Christmas night, December 25th. Miyamura goes to the Hori household to drop off a cake, but he has to rush back to the bakery to help his parents or whatever. And Hori's walking him back to the shop, but she's not saying anything. And even Miyamura is in his head again. He's just like, did I do something wrong? Did I say something wrong? I'm trying to talk to Hori and she's not saying anything. And that's because she has these anxieties about losing him. So she just kind of she's about to say something, and then Miyamura cuts her off, and he's just like, Hori, like, I love you. Like, I know that we're young, but I want to marry you.
Like 5 centimeters per second, like, kind of shit.
Yeah. You almost expect, like, a train to run through the middle of them.
Yes, exactly. We're in a city, so we don't expect no fucking, like, cherry blossoms.
We love Senkei here. We love Senkei. But
it's a big pillar in the anime house.
But we have this really awkward scene where he basically bows to her, and he's just like, I want to marry you. I want to spend the rest of my life with you. And she says the same thing, but when she says it, it's kind of her saying out loud what she was thinking. She's like, I know that I'm the strong-headed, selfish one in this relationship. So
I wear the pants around.
Yeah. So, but I'd be down to check that on myself and, like, try to work on that, because I realize if we're going to be together forever, I need to work on myself.
And then if I didn't know better, I was watching Miss Kobayashi.
Yeah.
Last episodes. You know what I'm saying? It just feels so like we're already doing so much for each other. We're already living together. We're already, like, living life together for this amount of period of time. And
Yeah. It's weird that Horimiya feels more mature than Miss Kobayashi.
No, it does. It does.
It's
Because it
weird.
doesn't have
It's
dragon titties. I like dragon titties, but they're not there.
But it's not just that. It's not like the way they treat the relationship. Like imagine, like they come to the mutual agreement that they're probably gonna get married.
Like for some reason, Horimiya, seems more progressive than
Yeah. Miss Kobayashi Dragon. Weird that it ended up like that. But yeah. And yeah, that's it. That's basically all of season 1 of Horimiya. And like it feels like I would want to know more about what happens after they graduate high school. Mm-hmm. And like it's disappointing to me. I was Googling it right before we started recording that like the last scene in the light novel series is the scene that they have at the end of season 1 of Horimiya where they're walking home after the graduation ceremony and they're just like, I don't know what's coming next, but I'm happy I'm doing it with you. That's it. That's it.
Smoother than cream cheese, bro.
That's it. It's the most mature relationship writing I've ever seen in anime, tied neatly at the top. And I wish I had more. I wish I had like they do another OVA series just showing me the subplots like in the middle of this relationship because you already showed me the beginning and the end.
Yeah,
I'd be down for another 13 episodes just showing me everything in between because I miss it.
Yeah.
As soon as it was gone, I was like, "That's it." Like, that's like you're like teasing me with something that could be you encompassing me in a bigger world, but I never got to see the rest of it.
Andrew, you have curated a perfect February. I think it was really fun. I believe this is gonna be our last episode on the theme.
The next one is.
The next one is? Oh,
the winner of the poll.
Oh, yeah. Correct. What is it?
Toradora.
Toradora. We'll be talking about that on next episode, on episode 84 of Between Nerds. Mm-hmm. Should we go into the Nerd Down?
Nerd Down.
Nerd Down.
Nerd Down.
Nerd Down.
Hello, nerds. Welcome to the Nerd Down. This is Between Nerds, the only anime... the only podcast talking about your favorite anime every week. And please... that was episode 83. Horimiya?
Yeah, Horimiya.
Horimiya. And please follow us on Twitter, any social media at Between Nerds. Please send us any comments and concerns to at betweennerdspodcast.com. At gmail.com. Sorry, I'm butchering the shit out of this. Also, please use the hashtag Nerds for Black Leadership. And every comment, like, or retweet, we will be donating to
El Paso Young Black Leaders.
El Paso Young Black Leaders. Yes. And please follow us on YouTube, too. Subscribe, like, comment. Also use a hashtag there, and you'll be entered to our giveaway, which we have every month.
Yeah, absolutely. And shout out to TCG Battleground over there in the Zataplex over on Zaragoza Drive.
Yes, sir.
We love them. We love everything Jacob Von Wallace is doing.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we can get into the bit of it. Maybe like 30 minutes before you showed up, Aldo, I finished watching Peacemaker. I'm happy with how it ended. I think it's cool, like how the fighting scenes in Peacemaker look better than the fighting scenes in like the Justice League.
Yeah.
Was one of my main gripes. I was like, I don't understand how like a low budget action sequence, like in the last episode of Peacemaker, looks better than like the entirety of Justice League.
Well, if we bring in Mr. Daddy James Gunn into the mix,
Didn't James Gunn do the Justice League movie?
No.
Who did the Justice League movie?
That was Zack Snyder and the other buffoon from DC, the one that got fired, Josh Whedon.
Yes. Okay.
And but yeah, fucking James Gunn. He's been doing fucking Guardians of the Galaxy, which we really like, but we don't like Chris Pratt.
Yeah.
You know?
And honestly, wait, that was James Gunn, or was that Taika Waititi?
No, that was James Gunn.
That was James Gunn?
Taika was Ragnarok.
Oh. And then, okay, right. So James Gunn,
And the Suicide Squad was really good, too.
Isn't he is he back with Marvel, or
yes,
no?
he's still with Marvel. He's doing the next Guardians of the Galaxy.
Right. So his issue was he was basically let go after Guardians of the Galaxy 2, because
he had like super underground tweet about liking young boys.
Right. They got tweets from his proposed stand-up about some questionable things, right?
Out of context shit.
Right. So he got a 2-3 year contract with DC where he basically wrote and made Peacemaker and like the last Suicide Squad and stuff like that,
which was great. I liked it.
And then DC saw, and then Marvel Studios saw that it was so good that they brought him back, right? Mm-hmm. And then there was this whole in-between period, which I guess we're at the tail end of, where he was still under his contractual obligations to DC and Warner Brothers to create Peacemaker, but now he's officially back with Marvel, right?
Yes, and I mean, by all means, James Gunn, please help DC in their decision making to make something good.
I don't think these studios will share James Gunn. I don't think they're down to share talent.
Really?
Like
That's a director, though.
I don't think so. Because that was the big issue, was that like after something bombed, and then all of the internet, like the Marvel MCU fans, were like, get back James Gunn, and Marvel Studios put out an official statement saying they didn't want to get him back because he already had obligations to a rivaling studio.
Okay.
So I don't know, but apparently he's in demand, and I can clearly see why.
And unfortunately, we've seen shitty shit from DC. But I mean, my last favorites are the Suicide Squad, Peacemaker, and I hope the Batman's really good.
But like this Batman is going to be like the last Joker, and it doesn't sound like they're going to be part of the DC like extended universe.
It's a standalone,
which sucks. Like the main DC cinematic universe is so fucked that nobody wants to be a part of it. Like I thought it was even weird that in the last episode of Peacemaker they had Ezra Miller and what's his name, Aquaman, Momoa. Jason. They had Jason Momoa each in there for like 10 seconds. Like that was even weird to me. I was like, I'm surprised these guys even want to be associated with the main DC extended universe, because even the last Aquaman didn't seem like it was tied to it that much.
They both have a coming up movie, you know?
Yeah. Well, Ezra Miller's movie's been on the back burner for like 4 years already.
Yeah.
Like I can almost guarantee that movie's gonna be absolute garbage because of how many issues there's been in production.
Well, they want to reset the whole thing with that movie.
Every movie I've ever heard about there being production issues has sucked. Like in its like release form.
Elf had a lot of production issues. That was a great movie.
Really?
Yeah.
How?
You don't like Elf?
No, but how did Elf have production issues?
Dude,
what was the drama in Elf?
Dude, bro, there's a whole documentary on the fucking Jon Favreau directed that movie.
What?
Jon Favreau directed.
Right, so we're talking about the Christmas movie Elf with what's his face, the comedian.
Willem Dafoe. No. Will Ferrell.
That had production issues.
Bro, they were about to get sued by the Christmas Story with the puppets. There was no permits that happened like in New York City. Like no permits got allowed. Like all this bullshit, bro.
I didn't know any of that.
Yes, sir.
And that's a really good movie. That's one of the most popular like Christmas movies.
I love Elf, bro. Me and my girlfriend love Elf. But not everything with bad production things come out bad.
I feel okay. So I guess what I'm thinking about is the past like 5 years. I think of everything that's had production issues. Justice League, dog shit, had production issues, like very public. The first Suicide Squad, very public production issues, dog shit. Solo had but they switched directors halfway through. They put the main actor into acting classes because he was so bad.
And I feel like that's one of the main reasons, because if you think about it, there weren't mistakes that happened like on the unknown. Like you knew DC got rid of Zack Snyder.
Yeah.
You knew Warner Brothers did a lot of edits on the cuts.
Right.
And for Suicide Squad and the Justice League and whatever, Batman versus Superman, and you knew where these mistakes were coming from.
Right.
I feel like if you would have given the chance for David Ayer, Suicide Squad, to do his own cut, if you let Zack Snyder do his own cuts, I'm pretty sure we would have something very decent in comparison to what it was. What you're saying, to your point, is that, oh, fuck, everything that has production issues, okay, maybe, but like the production issues that we've been hearing, about are this past beloved characters, is that it was just director changes.
Well, okay. So to be fair, we'll talk about the production issues in Flash or Flashpoint, whatever they're going to call it. Mm-hmm. Ezra Miller got put on probation for 6 months for assaulting a fan. Mm-hmm. Okay.
As you should.
Ezra Miller put put up a very public tissy fit about him not wanting to be associated with the film because they didn't want to let him co-produce / co-direct. Mm-hmm. Okay. Ezra Miller.
That sounds pretty shitty. I haven't heard about that.
It's all Ezra Miller. I'm telling you, it's all Ezra Miller. But now he got what he wanted. Like, he's actually like a named co-producer. I think he's named as a co-director.
Hey, Jim Carrey on The Grinch was very difficult to work with too.
What?
Yes, dude.
What are you talking about?
Bro, he was a dick in Grinch.
What?
Yes, bro.
Why do all the Christmas movies have issues? And like they don't have issues on film.
I don't know, dude. It's a
what?
thing.
I didn't. Yeah. Oh my god, that feels like a lie.
No, bro, look it up.
Okay, and then the Flash movie, they've switched the writer like a few times because again, like it's
that's
like
shitty.
Do they want to do Flashpoint Paradox? Do they want to do a standalone Flash film like an origin story? Do they want to do that? Like there's a lot of issues when it comes to this Flash Ezra Miller movie, which is why like they've been making promos for it for the past like 3-4 years and it still isn't out because they don't have a product yet.
And they're like, oh, give him this.
My understanding is most of it's Ezra Miller. Mm-hmm. But that also might be like Hollywood media spin.
Keaton just came out. His character design came out.
Oh, did it?
Batman Keaton? Yeah.
But see, that's what I mean. They've been talking about this movie since Justice League came out. That was like 2017, 2018.
Mm-hmm. But that's before they knew everything was going to bomb, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, like everything. Because like, if they were just like half-time adjustments.
What was the Justice League edit that came out last year?
The Zack Snyder 3 hour and a half.
Right. When the original one came out in like 2018, 2019, I remember there's dialogue in there about like them talking about like Flashpoint or maybe leading up to Flashpoint, right? Where Ezra Miller's Flash is like,
I can't do that because of time.
Right. It's like, oh, I can't run that fast. I could tear time or I could rip time. And then us as an audience, oh my god, Flashpoint. And like...
And then he shits on itself.
Right. Just like Suicide Squad did.
Yeah, and that happened too. David Ayer had a different cut where, don't get me wrong, this is nothing to Jared Leto's Joker. It was terrible. It could have also been terrible in the director cut of David Ayer's.
But I think Jared Leto's next movie looks like garbage.
I don't know
what's his name. Yes, you do. Mobius. Oh yeah, Mobius. That looks like it's gonna be bad too. That I can guarantee you that's gonna be mid. I can guarantee you Mobius is gonna be mid, bro.
Hopefully it's not.
Guarantee it. Guarantee it.
Because
that one had production issues too because of Jared Leto.
But see,
because of Jared Leto,
The Grinch was good, bro.
Oh my!
Hopefully,
I would be genuinely surprised if Mobius is good. Genuinely surprised if Mobius is good.
Look, just the fact that Mobius is gonna be something that they could attach to Blade, I'm excited.
No, you are. Mobius is DC.
Mobius is Marvel, dog.
Is it?
Yeah.
Then why did the trailers look so mid? I could have sworn it was a Warner Brothers production because it looks so garbage.
No, it's Marvel, dog. Yeah, Mobius.
Yeah.
With Jared Leto.
Yes.
And he turns into a vampire because he's dying.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
I didn't know
Marvel
that.
production. It's a Sony production.
It looks bad. Oh, it's a Sony production. That's what I'm thinking of. Oh, okay, because it's a Sony production.
Yeah.
And it looks okay. That's what I'm thinking of.
Mm-hmm.
Because
it's not MCU. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Yes. I'm okay. I'm on the right track. Because I remember thinking it looked mid because I saw the first Mobius trailer at the during the trailers for Venom 2.
It reminds me just of Venom, of the first Venom trailer.
Yes.
Venom took a shitload of time to come out.
Well, that was because of COVID, though.
Yeah.
That was because of COVID, though.
No.
No? Was it before COVID?
No, that was before. That was like New Mutants time.
Okay.
Yeah. It feels like I'm watching trailers for Venom.
Okay. Right. But in like
Venom was good.
The Sony Venom movies are good. They're not great. Okay.
But you can't expect a bomb.
But see, that's the issue. It's I guess that's what I was trying to say. Like, it's clearly like a sub-production.
Like, Sony Spider-Man wasn't good until the MCU got involved.
Yes. Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
So
exactly.
this being a Sony movie, just like Venom, it has... they have risk. They have mistakes to make.
If you're Sony, though, if Mobius bombs, that might almost be a good thing. Because that means that they're like, holy shit, we cannot do a Marvel movie without Marvel Studios actually being involved. So that means they might try to get like more co-productions with Marvel Studios, which is actually a good thing.
Exactly. So now in my corporate fucking brain, I'm thinking Sony by osmosis got the formula to copy the formula of filming a movie so they can get they can reel MCU
they're
back
tied
in
in the production.
Exactly.
So they can be like, hey, we're going to send our main producer for Mobius to be a co-producer in Spider-Man No Way Home so that they can learn everything that like Marvel Studios is doing.
If anybody smart at the Sony executive level was like, hey, yo, bro, I heard they were making Blade. Should we make a Mobius so that we can probably tie that shit in? Mm-hmm. Like, I don't see it. And honestly, bro, now Sony has a osmosis adopted formula to what MCU wants to do.
I hope so.
Yeah.
Because Mobius looks like shit right now.
But I mean,
I hope
when I was
good.
watching Venom trailers, that didn't look too promising either.
No, it didn't. Me and Karen did fall in love with Venom because I remember I never saw Venom 1 until like 3 years later.
Tom Hardy was cool.
But I remember Venom 2 was coming out. I bought tickets ahead of time because me and Karen hadn't been to the movies in a while. And we love movies, right?
Movies are good.
And nothing been out in a while because like 2021 was... The first half of 2021 was dry because it was... The second half of 2021 was recouping on movies that were delayed from 2020 because of COVID. Right? So... Venom finally gets an official release date. I remember I wanted to watch it because me and Karen love going to Alamo Drafthouse. We love the movies. We hadn't been to a movie in a while, but neither of us had seen Venom 1 yet. We watched Venom 1 like 2 weeks before like our Venom tickets, and we loved it, right? So then we watched Venom 2, and it was good, wasn't great, but then you're watching the end of Spider-Man No Way Home, and you see Tom Hardy Venom, and you're just like, holy shit. Well, not Tom Hardy as Venom, but you see both Tom Hardy and his Venom character, like in his, like the voice in his head, and you're just like, holy shit, the possibilities have just been like blown open. So I get what you mean. I get what you mean completely. Like Mobius. Well, can I confess to you something real quick?
Yes, it's okay, bro.
I don't actually know the Blade story because like. Blade 1, I've seen bits and pieces, but as a child, like, just played in the background. I've never sat down and actually watched the Blade movies.
So, when comic books were coming out, Marvel was his own thing, DC was his own thing. They're the fucking patron saints of this fucking shit.
Got it.
But in some other smaller comic book companies, they would have characters like Dracula. They would have characters... In the Dracula comic that there was this vampire hunter. So that's where Marvel is like, hey, I'm going to buy Dracula from you and the vampire hunter with it.
Right.
So they bought out this small, sometimes they're called like drama comics, drama stories, cowboy stories, and they introduce like different things. And then there's this weird ass thing that came out called a comic book code where like super conservative elected officials were like, you can show guns, you can show drugs, you can show murder, you can show dead people. So then
it's like music in the 80s.
So Marvel what they did is that they made Dracula an undead character. So it was a person that wasn't dead but had all the characteristics of a dead person. Right. So you can have zombies or shit like that. And then they by osmosis almost, they created Blade, the guy that hunts vampires. So Dracula, it's the big boss in the Blade story.
Oh, okay. So Dracula is a named character in the Blade series.
Yes.
Oh, okay. I'm following.
So Blade, you haven't seen the Wesley Snipes. Dude, watch the first one, dog. Just watch it.
But that's what I'm saying. I've seen bits and pieces, but I've never actually sat down and seen the whole thing.
No, watch it. It's good. I mean, it's by a guy who failed to pay taxes at one point and he got in prison. But it was really good. I mean, it was when I was growing up. I was like something like, dude, did you watch Blade? You know what I'm saying? And it's something. It's something pretty crazy. The CGI is not there, obviously, but it's something really good.
Okay. But, like, they're totally going to redo that movie anyways, right?
Well, yeah, now they have the guy from...
Is that a Sony production or an MCU production?
No, that's MCU.
Okay.
Blade is MCU now.
Okay.
But that's going to be a movie. That's going to be a main character.
Okay. So, like, Sony almost needs Mobius to be a hit. To be
Yes.
like, hey, Marvel Cinematic or Marvel
Look
Studios.
at our villain.
Look, yeah, you want Mobius?
And
you want this Mobius?
And this is where you told me that Tom Holland has 3 movies with the MCU.
Three more.
Right. So watch this. So now with Sony having the rights to not only Morbius, but to Scorpion, to the Vulture, to Shocker, to all these other characters, they can bring some of those movies in, and we can get lucky enough for Marvel to be like, let's make it happen.
Okay.
That's what excites me about Jared Leto's Morbius. What was the point here? I hope it's not shitty because of that reason.
Do you remember all the drama? I remember texting you that we were in a group chat at the time. There was like 2-3 weeks where the entire internet, all nerddom, was super worried about the Sony contract with with Marvel Studios about Spider-Man No Way Home. Before that movie even had a title, I remember there was like a 2-3 week period where every day on Twitter we had an update on the contract battle.
It wasn't a thread.
Yeah. We really...
You know why?
Why?
Well, Disney being...
Disney.
Disney capitalistic geniuses. Yeah. They talk to Sony, and they're like, "Hey, can we borrow Spider-Man?" And Sony's like, "Well, we have to get some sort of like compensation on the film, on the thing or whatever." I'm like, and Disney's like, "Yeah, whatever. We just have production rights entirely. So that's all toys."
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Shout out to Disney, bro.
Exactly. All of what do you call it? All purge.
I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't remember the word. So posters, stickers, toys, themed covers for your thing, anything.
Which Sony was never going to do.
Merchandise.
Sony was never going to do.
Exactly. And Sony thought they were like, yeah, we got them with all the rights to the movies. Like, no, we just want to sell toys.
Yeah. Which is so smart. Because, like, Sony by themselves could never do it, right?
Mm-hmm.
They literally don't have the manpower to be doing shit like that. But
So
Disney does.
Yeah, so Sony, by the next contract, when the contract ended and the next contract arguments, they were like, oh, shit, we need to actually...
Honestly, can I tell you something? Like, I am so tired of listening to lawyers and law speak. Even at work lately, I've become like the de facto like research point of contact, because if El Paso Water has contracts with NMSU now and UTEP and like contracted agreements and stuff, I am so tired of being caught in these email chains between like lawyers discussing minute details about like when the contract officially started, about specific points, talking about points of arbitration and where like litigation can happen if there's an issue. Bro, we are funding a nonprofit research experiment about desalinating water concentrate for New Mexico State University. It does not have to be this fucking complicated. But like at the same point, I can't be mad at like our lawyers that I'm working with, because it's like they're protecting me. They're trying to make sure that Drew Elias doesn't get fired, right? For citing some stupid shit. Yeah. But at the same time, I'm just like, I hate thinking about law so much. It hurts my brain thinking about law arguments sometimes.
I mean, and speaking of that, hey, YouTube, stop being a dick. Even though we're fucking recording this, stop being a dick.
Bro.
Give us a video back.
For real. Like we talked about a little bit last time, but I guess we'll go into the full, like, argument. Basically, some German IT group. Phony-ish. With, like, some made-up fucking name. It's just, like, an assortment of, like, uppercase and lowercase letters, but somehow they're verified enough by the YouTube algorithm to be able to mark things as copyright infringements. That they can mark anything as their own. And what upsets me most about the YouTube algorithm is that you can mark anything as a copyright claim. They will not review it until there's a counterclaim. There's a counterclaim, which blows my mind. So you were telling me that you, Aldo Mendez, in some random fucking DC YouTube video, can make a copyright claim. YouTube will automatically take it down, but will not review it until a counterclaim is submitted. which blows my mind, bro. Like,
sorry. And honestly, hopefully they give us back the video. It's almost been about the 2-week mark.
it was the episode on YouTube from like 3 weeks ago, right?
Yeah. So hopefully they get us our video back so you can like it and subscribe and hit that notification bell on YouTube. So
Which episode was it?
That was 82, 81?
No, it wasn't the last one.
81.
Which was what?
Evergarden.
Oh, yes. Our YouTube video on the audio for Violet Evergarden was taken down by a random German IT company because they claim they have rights to some of the content in that video. All of our graphics produced by us. Like, the only graphics on there are maybe
These
like...
are owned by CloverWorks. Right?
The ones in the background. But we're adding content on top of it. So we
Yes.
own the rights to this image.
This is our image, our sounds, our songs, our logos, our everything. And, I mean, if you're watching this on YouTube, we'll probably bring this on Twitch and shit like that. And hopefully we bring in some donations coming in, you know? So you guys can also donate. Not just by liking our tweets.
Our Podbean platform, too, like the platform we use to upload our audio episodes, has built-in Patreon. So, like, we could probably just do that. Just turn it on. The biggest issue is just, like, me and Aldo just need to nut up and buy, like, the...
And not only that, we're a small production. It's just the two of us.
No, but, like, to even make a bank account, we have to buy the fucking, the LLC.
Uh-huh. Oh, yeah.
Which, that's the biggest hurdle where we're at right now. It's just, like, nutting up and just putting up the $600 to buy the Between Nerds LLC. Like, that's the only thing holding us back, really.
Mm-hmm.
But... just keep liking, subscribing, tweeting at us. Honestly, the more popular we get, the better we can monetize it just to buy our LLC. It's simple as that. Like, the more support we get, the better we can, like, monopolize our LLC.
And get more production value, so we can get videos, so we can get Twitch, so we can get all sorts of shit to you guys. I'm honestly aiming to be able to go live for a 100 episode.
That'd be tight.
You know, even if we do it like this through YouTube.
Right.
But yeah, we are looking for a camera. We're looking for a second mic. We're looking for a recording base for audio. But yeah, what else we got? We got Boba Fett. Boba Fett was great. That was 2 weeks ago.
Boba Fett was great. I think a lot of people were upset by Boba Fett because it's kind of corny, it's kind of tacky, but so was the original Star Wars. I think people forget this. Like,
Star Wars was the baddest shit ever.
Like, A New Hope was tacky, you know what I mean? Like, you go back and watch A New Hope now, you're like, wow, this is really corny.
The skeletons burning.
Right.
That's what
Like, I think Boba Fett, especially the last episode, is clearly just fan service for people that really, really originally love Star Wars. It's like, you want to see Boba Fett riding a Rancor and just punching people? That's what you see. Like, that's fan service. That is fan service. Like, the wildest shit fans thought in the 70s and 80s that could happen in the Star Wars series, you really gave it to them in Boba Fett. Or, like, even in people like me that grew up with Clone Wars and were watching, what's his name? Cobb Vanth. Or, no. Cobb Bane, right? And, like, you're watching, like, in Clone Wars, he was kind of like a dorky character. He was just kind of, because in all of the Clone Wars animated series, it's for kids. Like, it's dorky situations happening, and even though it's about, like, saving the fate of the universe, it's, like, funny characters falling into funny situations and not really being able to deal with it. But, like, in the serious, like, series, well, air quote series like Boba Fett, you get Cobb Bane, and he's scary. He's a badass. But, like, they kill him on screen. But it's also, like, that Western dynamic where it's, like, he could come back at any time if the narrative wants them to. Like, at any point in the writer's room, 4 or 5 years from now, they're writing another Star Wars series, and they're like, fuck, we need some assassin characters to come in here and fuck shit up. Oh, well, we never officially killed Cobb Bane. Do you think we could just bring him back? Yeah, absolutely. Just bring him back. Like, they kind of left the door open.
Not on purpose.
Not on purpose,
yeah.
But you could do it, which is fun. That's cool. Like, that's how the Star Wars extended...
Darth Maul thing.
Yes.
Everybody thought Darth Maul was them.
That's exactly how Darth Maul is. And then he comes back in Clone Wars, the same exact thing.
Badass as fuck.
And that's exactly how, like, Star Wars is supposed to be. Like, people take Star Wars too seriously, and Star Wars has always been very upfront that you're not supposed to take it seriously. Always. Has always been very, very, very upfront. Being like, hey, this is dorky, like space magicians, like fighting aircraft. Yeah, fighting with like samurai blades. Like, do not take this too seriously. But the fan base always takes it way too seriously.
As they should, because they love it, and it's. I love the political drama about it. Like the whole, you guys are not supposed to reign this planet. I'm gonna take over because I'm the good person. That shit, like the mafia aspect to the book of Boba Fett, really good.
Yeah, and like they do give you fan service because like if what's her face, the chick with the black and red helmet that Boba saved, what's her name?
Shit, dude, you got me there.
Because she's also in the Bad Batch too. Yeah. And she was in season 1 of The Mandalorian. Mm-hmm. Like, she was supposed to be written in as this badass assassin this whole time, and we never got to see that. And the end of, like, Boba Fett is literally just her murking a room of, like, 6 people without being caught. And that's like, holy shit, I've been waiting, like, 3-4 years of Star Wars drama to actually see her act as an assassin. That's crazy.
The last scene on the episode while she was getting the family leaders. Yeah, that shit was fucking wild. She Batman the shit out of everybody.
Yeah. She's Star Wars Batman on Tatooine, and like they've been writing that in this whole time, but we never got to see that.
Fennec Shand.
Yeah, Fennec Shand. Like they were always writing her in. Like we were supposed to really care about how badass she was, but we never got to see it as an audience. And that's why I'm excited for the, like, I've talked about the British term campy before, which is kind of like...
Happy.
No, it's like dorky almost. Like, you're not supposed to take it seriously, right? Like, Boba Fett's kind of campy because it's kind of like... It's just cool dorky shit happening. You're not supposed to take it too seriously. I'm interested to see how the Obi-Wan series is going to go. How Kenobi's going to go. Because the way Star Wars fans are talking about it right now, they're taking it really seriously. Like, they're taking it... Like, Obi-Wan Kenobi fought toe-to-toe with Darth Vader multiple times. He trained Darth Vader. Like, he could fight on the same par with any Sith Lord during his heyday. But he gave himself to the Force. In the original Star Wars movie, in A New Hope...
Is this going to be pre or post Empire Fall?
It's pre. It's in the period of time before A New Hope, after Anakin Skywalker.
Oh yeah, you're right.
So it's after Anakin Skywalker turns into Darth Vader.
Yeah.
But it's like after Order 66, after the extermination of the Jedis, when Obi-Wan like kind of goes into seclusion.
Got you. Yeah, that was a dumb question.
So it's. That doesn't sound like a campy kind of season because it's like...
It should be dark?
Yeah, it should be really dark. It's about him trying to fight back like a Jedi extermination order. It's about him trying to like hide from a literal warlord that he helped train. It's supposed to be something really kind of scary. But that's not how Boba Fett felt. That's not even how The Mandalorian feels, because The Mandalorian is a straight-up Western. The Mandalorian is not afraid from like looking like a take-to-take spaghetti Western, which is fine. Like, it's written in, it looks great on screen. It's just one of those things. It's like, it's a Western. It can't handle certain narrative writings. But like, are they going to do that with Obi-Wan? Or is Obi-Wan going to be like a completely different tone?
I hope not. I really hope to see, because even when we saw Ian McGregor in the prequels, he wasn't even really dark. We didn't even get to see like the separation that was building between him and Anakin.
Well, that's why the Clone Wars series was made 2 years later, because like they fucked up. They fucked up because that, like, the end of the third movie in the prequel series was the last movie that George Lucas executive produced, which he fucked it up because he had this... The issue with Star Wars, especially like the original trilogy and the main trilogy, has always been that George Lucas has this giant world that you cannot introduce an audience to in 90-minute movies. Like, he always needed like kind of a show, kind of some big multi-episode production, which he never got, which is why he calls the movies episodes, right? Mm-hmm. Episode 1, episode 2, and then rewriting which ones were which, right? So, the Clone Wars series, the animated series on Cartoon Network, was produced 2 years later, after like the end of the prequel series, because there was so much world building that it had never gotten to. But that was already after, like, he sold the LucasArts production tag. That was after he sold it. But he was still, like, a co-producer for all of these series. So he's approaching Disney or whatever series, like, picked up the Clone Wars series when it was on Cartoon Network, like, telling them, like, his world plan and what he originally expected these movies to be. So they essentially, like, kind of rewrote the narrative in a Clone Wars in episode 2 in the second movie in the prequels. And I don't know. That's why the Star Wars audience was so mad after Disney bought it, because they totally got rid of all the narrative from the books from the 70s and 80s, got rid of all that sub narrative, and just kept it to what was on screen at the time, which to certain Star Wars audience members, you could only make sense of the Clone Wars show or like the Bad Batch or Star Wars Rebels under the pretext that was given in these books. And Disney said, no, that's not canon anymore. That shit literally does not matter until we make it canon.
It doesn't make sense, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And so the most hardcore Star Wars fans are kind of in this limbo, because they hated the sequels,
but they love the lore.
Because, well, what I think what Disney fucked up most on the sequels, in like starting with The Force Awakens and stuff like that, is if they wanted it to be a what's the director? The guy that owns Bad Robot. The guy that made Lost.
Is not the guy from Star Trek.
J.J. Abrams.
Yeah, the guy from Star Trek.
Yes,
yeah,
yes, it is. So the way they did it is J.J. Abrams made episode 7. They got a different guy for episode 8, and then whatever happened after episode 8, J.J. Abrams was supposed to pick back up and make episode 9, right? Mm-hmm. So a lot of people didn't like episode 7 of Force Awakens, even though I loved it at the time, because it literally felt like watching A New Hope for the first time. Mm-hmm. Like, what would A New Hope look like? It literally looks like a Force Awakens.
Yeah, and I did love The Force Awakens when it first came out too, because it did feel like that. But then the way that they just wanted to replicate it in such a generic fucking form.
I love that. That was my favorite part.
Not The Awakens, the following two movies.
Well,
like
but
movies.
But see, that was my issue, because they switched the director for episode 8, right? Mm-hmm. And they made The Last Jedi. And The Last Jedi, the director there, the writing there, felt like somebody that grew up with the original trilogy, but never kept up with Star Wars after that. Mm-hmm. And he wanted to reboot the Star Wars universe to how he felt it was at the end of the original trilogy. So he rewrote Luke's character. He, like, even what's his name? The guy that plays Luke Skywalker? Mark Hamill. Uh-huh. Mark Hamill, in interviews after The Last Jedi, literally said multiple points, like, I had to pretend while acting that I wasn't actually playing Luke Skywalker and I was playing a different character. Mm-hmm. Somebody that literally he's been playing his entire life, he had to pretend that it wasn't Luke Skywalker.
But then again, I feel like that's such a risk for the studio to even make to...
I do think...
I feel like the community that just kept up with the initial trilogy does not surpass the community that have built up to the I'm sorry, because me following like the two trilogies and then coming back here and also knowing some shit about the comic books here and there, stuff like that, me watching this feels the same as Luke Skywalker being brought back in Mandalorian and in Boba Fett. It just feels like, dude, I just want to...
Well, I don't think so, because like Luke Skywalker and Mandalorian is a different time frame. Because
I know.
The Mandalorians are supposed to be after the fall of the Empire, so Luke is supposed to be there trying to make a Jedi Academy. So that's why it made so much sense for like him to realize that there's this force sensitive character in Grogu and trying to pick him up as an apprentice. The issue in Episode 8, The Last Jedi, is that it's like the director watched the J.J. Abrams film and was like, I'm just going to ignore all of that. And like they're trying to make a trilogy. They're trying to make a microcosm story. And it really felt like this director was like, no, I don't give a shit about that. Like my Star Wars fandom ended at the end of the what's it called? The Sith Strikes Back? What's
Empire Strikes Back?
The Empire Strikes Back. And just like trying to pick up from there, like a story that he grew up with that he wanted to emulate, and he didn't want anything else in that. Like him telling Mark Hamill, like, no, Luke's gonna throw his childhood lightsaber over a cliff and pretend it never existed again. Him like the idea of Force ghosts and like. So he tried to rewrite everything J.J. Abrams tried to write into the narrative in Episode 7. So by the time J.J. Abrams got like the reins back in Episode 9, he was trying to like fix everything in the story that was like chopped in the knees in Episode 8. Because in Episode 8, it feels like that's when everything was written off. Like that didn't matter to the director of The Last Jedi.
To me, I mean, don't get me wrong. I did like aspects of it, you know. It's like, oh, it's been what, 30 years after the fall of the Empire,
longer, like 50,
like, you know what I'm saying. So I do enjoy that. Did I enjoy Luke Skywalker character? You know what, it would have been dumb not to follow him, but it was poorly executed. But it felt to me as what, like the 70s show and the remake the 90s show. You know, it felt to me as something like, yeah, don't get me wrong, your passionate fucking words that you said about J.J. Abrams bringing this shit back again, it's nice. It's nice that they brought that back, but to me, it was like a re-bashing of the things that I already seen.
Which is what's wrong with that, though.
It's not. There's
That's
nothing
what I'm saying.
wrong
like,
with that, but me as a fan, an individual fan, just like you were pointing out the fans that just left off from the first trilogy, me as a fan, I didn't want to see that. Even though I like The Force Awakens, even though like I love the starting point of that movie, I didn't like where it went. I didn't want to see that the story about like almost lost brothers killing your dad.
But see, that came about in Episode 8. That came about in The Last Jedi. That's what I'm saying.
And
like J.J. Abrams' narrative wasn't bad. But
no,
like
it wasn't, because I really love aspects of the story, but I didn't want to see that again. I'm not saying I hated them. I'm not saying I'm hating them like every other nerd hates them. I did like him. I enjoy him. I'll watch him with you right now when we finish this episode.
My favorite part of Episode 9 is the lore aspect. Because they really brought Palpatine back. Okay, roll your eyes about it. But them bringing back the Force Ghost talking to Rey feels like some extra canon, like sub lore shit. You know what I mean?
No,
like
yeah,
having Obi-Wan's ghost like talk to Rey, having Yoda's ghost talk to Rey. And like it feels like a whole different story, because it's like that's supposed to be what the original trilogy was about. It's about these Force ghosts, like all of the collective knowledge of the Jedi coming together at the end to defeat the ultimate evil, which is the main Sith Lord, which is Darth Sidious. That was how Episode 9 was always supposed to end. And I was so weirded out that people were upset by that, because like the main if you watch the original trilogy and you actually ingested the original trilogy and the prequels, the main story that they're telling you is that you cannot dedicate yourself to one hyperfixated way of thinking, because then you're so obscured by everything else happening, which was the main issue with the Jedi in the prequel trilogy. Because it's like, if you're only dedicated to the light side, and it's just like, no human attachments, no, you can only be dedicated to the Jedi way, you're always going to have defectors, and you're always going to have people abusing the system because of that. So Rey, at the end of Episode 9, calling herself Rey Skywalker, she is reaffirming that she learned everything that Luke didn't want to learn at the end of the original trilogy. So if you're talking about Luke Skywalker at the end of The Mandalorian Season 2, or even in Boba Fett, and how Luke is still in this hyperfixated Jedi way, being like, you can choose the Mandalorian armor, or you can choose Yoda's lightsaber, there's no in between. That was the main fall of the Jedi in the prequel trilogy, was this hyperfixated, linear, super constructed, formulated like way of thinking. That was the issue. That was always the issue. That was what caused Anakin to fall into the dark side. Was that's not how the Force is supposed to work. Because they even talk about this in Star Wars Rebels. I forget the character's name, but there's like this giant elk person looking thing that works within both the light and the dark side, and he's like a master of both, and he can cause force lightning, but he's not a bad guy. And it's also like the Star Wars Clone Wars episodes where Anakin finds a planet with the father of the Force and his daughter and his son that work on both the light side and the dark side of the Force. And he's supposed to regulate them together because he's the chosen one, and he's supposed to cause like he was supposed to bring balance to the Force. He wasn't supposed to like turn to the dark side. And that was Anakin's fall, was that no one was there to tell him, like, no, there's really a path in
there's
both.
A gray. There's
a gray. There's supposed to be a gray. Yeah. Which that's also Ahsoka Tano's story, which she learned, like, yo, I watched the best Jedi ever fall to the dark side. There is no end-all be-all light side. Black. Yeah, there's always the gray side. Which is why, like, she has these silver lightsabers, like, in Boba Fett. Mm-hmm. And that's why at the end of Episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker, Rey has this golden lightsaber because she's a Force protector. She's a guardian of the Force. She understands both sides. I don't know. I went on a super long tangent. We're just supposed to be talking about Boba, and Boba talks about none of these things.
But yeah, Boba Fett was really good. I believe we did talk about Boba Fett without talking about Boba Fett.
A little
because
bit.
Boba Fett is just a rehatching or a bow tying on the character that we love from the prequels.
Right.
So him having another season coming back, The Mandalorian having another season.
They haven't announced Boba Fett season 2.
They're gonna have a season 2.
They did announce Mandalorian season 3.
They're gonna have a season 2.
Hey, we don't know, bro. Hey, we don't know,
bro. You think we're not gonna see? You think we're not gonna see Jabba just?
Jabba's dead.
I mean Jabba. Boba Fett doing shit.
We don't know. I don't know. I don't know unless the studio tells me.
You beat Pokemon.
Okay, I beat the main storyline for Pokemon.
Yeah, that doesn't mean that you got every Pokemon.
No, it's because, like, okay, so Pokemon Legends Arceus, it's probably the best Pokemon game in, like, 12 fucking years, right? And, like, the entire internet agrees on this. Because, so I grew up with Pokemon, right? Mm-hmm, when my parents were going through a divorce in, like, 1998, my grandpa took me to the Walmart by his house and bought me a Game Boy Color and bought me Pokemon Red, right?
Yes.
Because he knew I was having a hard time, and like he took care of me and made sure I was like entertained and happy. So I've grown up with the Pokemon series. Pokemon Red, Blue, and Yellow were like the first like turn-based RPGs that really broke into the American cultural sphere, right? Because it had a show attached to it, it had a card game attached to it, like
video
that.
Game. Shit, yeah.
Yeah, that a video game, and that was
stamp collection.
Well, that was the first time that like, if you're thinking the '90s, like remember how all marketing was in the '90s. You know what I mean? I grew up watching Beast Wars. I could buy every Beast Wars toy.
Like even if you got a candy with a Pokemon label on it, you know, with a
They had I remember they had the Tazos in Juarez and like all these things like Pokemon as a company, as a brand, has been very comfortable riding on the success of the original Pokemon games since Nintendo, at least 1999. That's every Nintendo IP that they're very comfortable just coasting on their own IPs, right? So there has been zero innovation, or close to zero innovation, in the entirety of the Pokemon series since 1999. This is the first time, the Pokemon Legends Arceus game, that they've really made the Pokemon game that I, as a child, imagined.
Yeah.
Like, if I was in the real world and you were just like, hey, I'm going to throw you in this field. There's this whole world of Pokemon out there. Try to solve these quests.
Even with, like, GTA 3 coming out, you were like, why can't Pokemon be like this? Mm-hmm. And then the next GTA comes out. Why can't Pokemon be like this?
Pokemon was always very linear.
Why can't...
And like,
yeah.
the storylines have been getting more and more sci-fi, which has been turning off Pokemon, like, players even more. Because there's always been the competitive aspect, which I kind of like vaguely like, because I like the idea. Because I played competitive Yu-Gi-Oh! And it feels the same kind of. Mm-hmm. But Pokemon as a series, as a storyline, especially with Sword and Shield, with the rehashing of the Gen 4 games, has always felt exactly the same. And like, it's upsetting because it's like, this could be so much more if you just put this IP to better use. Pokemon Legends Arceus is the first time that they're like, hey, you know how we've been telling you this whole time? It's this giant open world of Pokemon that you can capture and learn more about and solve a Pokédex for, and you're going to learn more about the mysteries of Pokemon. This is the first time, like, ever, that they really gave that to you. Like, on a silver platter. They're like, hey, we're really going to send you out into this field to learn more about Pokemon.
Size differentials between the Pokemon, like, you're like, oh, I believe it.
Well, it's the alpha Pokemon aspect, because it's like, in the main series Pokemon games, they always told you that, oh, there's different Pokemon forms, there's different sizes, and you capture them, and like, your Pokédex entry for that Pokemon will tell you the size, right? Mm-hmm. But you don't see it. Right now, if I grab an alpha Pokemon out in the field and I send it out, it's ginormous. And I'm just like, holy shit, this is scary. These really feel like monsters at the time. And
the fact that, I mean, I haven't played it by all means, but I've seen videos of people not even using Pokemon to like navigate the game.
Yeah. There's whole dynamics that you can like.
A lot of people were saying like, is the Skyrim of Pokemon.
It's the Monster Hunter of Pokemon. Mm-hmm. It's the Zelda of Pokemon. No, we were talking about Pokemon.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. We're talking about Pokemon.
Yeah, I'm really happy for where the Pokemon series is going. I know everyone's been bitching about the graphics and how ugly the water looks and like all the water graphics. Like, my thing is, I've been a Nintendo fan long enough that I understand how the company works. They're not going to pay outside royalties to a graphic designer, a graphic network, outside of their own like co-production. It was weird that they even did that for the Gen 4 like Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl like remakes, right? But like, for a core series, they will never do that. They're going to build the engine in-house, even how like expensive and time intensive that is, to the point that like, they made this game, you can break up a bunch of core graphic components that look like absolute dog shit, but like, it's very clear that they finally have a base that they can make all like subsequent Pokemon games off of.
And I mean, if I know the Switch right now, the console itself, or the Switch Pro, or what is it, the Switch LED, whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, those have the processing power to turn what we know what GTA is online.
I'm not even sure. I don't know how video games work. I don't know how video game programming works.
It works.
But the hit Monster Hunter game from last year was only available on the Switch, and the producer of that game said it was only available on the Switch because the Switch was the only console capable of actually running how he wanted it to run. So I don't know what it is about the Switch, but certain games, and especially an open world game like that, was only comfortable on the Switch, he said. And I don't know how the fuck that works.
Maybe it's not putting into context to comparison to what GTA is doing, because from what we know, the GTA is the most like immersive kind of, third person game, open world, bigger than any of other video games that we know, right?
Yeah.
So if you were to combine Pokemon to online GTA, that would be crazy.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know? So I hope it gets to that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I do like Pokemon, but, you know, when I started hanging out with you and I started hearing from other nerds, I'm like, wow, I really don't like Pokemon. Like, I thought I did, but I'm like, they know so much more about the aspects of this like competitive style game of what is it called when you like harvest things, when you grind things, when you farm things like Pokemon. Like in my brain, I'm just gonna get my favorite Pokemon and just like da 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 and play the game.
Yeah.
You know, and like what the competitive aspect of that, it's ridiculous.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ridiculous.
Well, the same argument's made about something like Yu-Gi-Oh, where it's like
Same thing.
It feels the same because like competitive Yu-Gi-Oh, competitive Pokemon, like Master Duel, like came out like 3-4 weeks ago. It's the official like Yu-Gi-Oh simulating platform, and even then, like official trading card game rules aren't applied to it. It plays by a different ban list. It has a different card pool, and nerds are mad. You know what I mean? It's not even played in a best of 3 format like actual Yu-Gi-Oh is. So you can get away with a lot more gimmicks and a lot more cheese, like in a best of 1 format, where your opponent can't side against your certain fucking brand of garbage. And I don't know. Like all I'm saying is I hope Pokemon takes the success from Pokemon Legends Arceus, which it was insanely popular. I think they already sold like 200 million copies or something ridiculous. And they take that same success if they made their in-game engine model and just like revamp that a little bit and just keep improving on it and just keep making bigger and better games that don't have to be the straight and narrow that we've been getting for fucking 25 years.
Yeah. I do wanna. Oh man, it sucks. I haven't been playing so many video games.
Yeah.
I do have a plug for PS5s here in El Paso. So as soon as I get the cash, I'm gonna go ahead and get myself one. I don't have to order it anywhere.
For what? You literally have no need. Like I make the joke all the time that I have a PS5 exclusively to play PS4 games. I make that joke all the time.
But you don't play with me, bro.
For what? What the fuck are we gonna play on the PS5?
I love to play maybe 5 hours of Apex.
A day?
No, not a day, but at least for a session. We usually play like 10 games, if anything.
That's like 2 hours, bro. That's a long time.
Yeah, but it's not 5 hours.
I don't know. It's because Karen makes fun of me because I even play like a lot of RPGs and stuff. Like I'm not out here like grinding Apex or like grinding all these other games. Like I play a lot of RPGs.
Yeah, RPGs are fun too, man. I've been playing Bloodborne, but it sucks that I do love gaming and I do have the chance of gaming, but I don't do it just because I'm playing with my son or something like that. And don't get me wrong, I love playing with my son, but it doesn't even come to mind to play video games when I'm like doing something with him.
I was thinking about you on Friday because they announced the trailer for Majora's Mask on the Nintendo Switch N64 expansion.
Dude? For when?
Like next month, bro. Like soon.
Hopefully.
And that made me feel bad. Oh, you bought the subscription for extended play?
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
Did you beat Ocarina of Time?
No, see that's why I'm upset because like I told you like a month and a half, 2 months ago that I got to the Water Temple and I haven't played since I got to the Water Temple. Because like I know it's garbage. So that's why I'm like I don't even want to play it. Like I'm in the Water Temple. I'm like fuck. Like I'm not even excited to beat the game right now. And Majora's Mask is like right around the corner.
If you know the step-by-step thing, it is not that annoying, but it is pretty annoying still.
It's because I never actually got to beat Ocarina of Time as a kid. So I feel like I missed out on something and I have to beat it at a certain point, but I'm just like, fuck. Like, there's so many things I'd rather be playing. I'd rather be playing the game with fucking B2 or whatever her name is. The PS4 RPG where it's a shoot 'em up and I'll think of it right now. Yeah, or I want to play the Mass Effect trilogy because I still haven't beaten it, and like I still haven't beaten Mass Effect 3. Or I just have so many games I'd rather be playing right now. Even like playing the post game in Pokemon right now is what's incorporating so much of my time. So like you beat the main game, you catch the main 2 like legendary Pokemon, and then the game's like, oh, do you want to catch every other legendary Pokemon in Generation 4? And you're like, okay, I'll do that. And it's just like a whole nother game. And that's what I've been spending all my time doing.
It sucks. I do want to play a lot of PS5 games, so I do.
All 3 of them?
I mean, not just that. I enjoy the technology. I enjoy the hype behind PS.
A lot of
PS4.
a lot of PC nerds are mad because like graphics cards for the PCs are like bought up immediately for people that are mining cryptocurrency. So there's no more graphic cards available for people that are actually trying to like graphic game, right? So a lot of nerds are mad. They're like, "Oh, I've had the same graphic card for like 2 or 3 fucking years because I can't get the new one because and now the PS5 has better graphics than my souped up PC."
I can't wait to get it. I want to play more games with you. I want to play more games with Jacob. I don't know. It's nice. I hate that I don't put in time to play video games. I do have a small amount of time.
I do feel corny like when I say that shit to Karen too. I'm just like, oh, I just have so many games I want to play and I'm not committing the time to it. I feel, which at that same time, like
it's like a puzzle. It's like a puzzle. People that like putting puzzles together.
No, absolutely.
You know.
And just the ending of this Nerd Down, we are going to be watching Toradora, the winner of our poll up on Twitter. We're going to be watching all 25 episodes of Toradora, the original animated series, produced by JC's staff. This upcoming week, our next episode is going to be on Toradora. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, email us betweennerdspodcast@gmail.com. Hit us up on social media at Between Nerds. Please use hashtag Nerds for Black Leadership in the original tweet, Instagram post, or YouTube comment to be entered into our February giveaway. We'll get you some cool tailor-made nerd stuff for you to show off to your friends. And for every like and retweet, we will be donating to El Paso Young Black Leaders. And I think that's it. Am I missing anything else? I hope you all are watching this on YouTube. I hope that we successfully got this shit uploaded and posted.
We did not like recording on our phone.
No.
But this is going to be... I mean, we have to start somewhere.
If you all have some recommendations for a camera we can buy, or if you guys want to donate us a camera, that'd be super dope.
Send us a $600 camera, guys.
This has been Between
Nerds.